Major General Ravi Murugan has been a great patron, supporter, I think motivator, inspiration for all of us because his last position was head of Karnataka and Kerala, which is known as the KNK sub-area. And he just retired just in June, and we had, in fact, we not even met his successor. We just met him briefly. So for us, in many ways, he's still the Major General KNK for us, and he has been a big supporter for our initiative of Mysore Lancers. Some of the stories I talked about earlier, but I think it's important for me to display his profile. Major General Ravi Murugan, Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal, was the General Officer commanding of Karnataka and Kerala sub-area from August 2022 to July 2024. He joined the National Defence Academy in June 1983 and was later commissioned into the 8th Battalion, the Brigade of Guards on 13th June 1897. After being awarded the President's Gold Medal and the Sword of Honor in the Indian Military Academy, he has a master's degree in science from the Madras University, as also Masters in Philosophy from Osmania University, Secunderabad. In his 37 years of service, the General Officer has fulfilled multiple challenging roles across diverse operational areas to include the western borders, Siachen Glacier, the northeast, as well as the command of a center insurgency division in J&K. He has held various important instructional, staff and United Nations peacekeeping appointments during his service. The General Officer was the Defense and Military Attaché in the Embassy of India, Washington, D.C. during the period from June 2016 to July 2019. And the Additional Director, General Military Operations, Integrated Headquarters of Ministry of Defense, Indian Army, New Delhi, responsible for capacity building of the Indian Army from 2020 to 2022. He has been awarded the Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal, and the Chief of Army Staff Commendation Card twice for his distinguished services in the Indian Army. Major General Murugan retired from the active military service just this year on 30th June 2024. I'm delighted to present to you. He will talk to us later since Ravi ASG has to leave for another function. We sort of advance the felicitation. So kindly can you bring the shawl and the... Sir, come to the center. Go, give it. This also. Keep it. Come, Dhananji. Mysore Lancers team. So this is me and Deshmukh sir are professors in college in Delhi. So they were our sponsor also in Haifa Day this year. Yes. Take a picture. Sir, thank you for supporting us. So kindly, the floor is all yours. So you want to close?
Yeah, I
Yes,
can close.
kindly close.
I'll take this. Yeah, thank you. Firstly, good morning, Jai Hind, Namaskara. Thank you all for, being so patient to come on this Saturday morning, braving, Bangalore traffic. You'll again brave Bangalore traffic to go back. So I must compliment you on your resolve and, of course, interest in coming here. I also would like to say I'm extremely privileged to be here. It's an honor. There are so many eminent personalities over here, of course. One is Sri Ravi Ayerji has just gone. There are so many others who were on the stage. And during tea time, there was additional pressure put on me because there are two ladies. One lady has come from Tumkuru, has taken 2 hours to come here, and she told me, there she is. She's a professor in an engineering college, and she said that she's come here to hear me speak. So that is putting unnecessary pressure on me. So that is one. And then, of course, I met one more girl or a lady here. She said that we are looking forward to your speech. Now, I must, I have to own up here that I am speaking what has been given to me in sense of what is the subject. So if you require to know anything more, you'll have to ask me, right? So, but it is indeed a pleasure to be here. And as I said, normally to get anybody to attend anything is a real a task. So thank you all for, and as my previous boss, General A.K. Singh had said, the time is the most precious commodity anybody can give anybody. And I thank you for your time. First and foremost, I'm here to speak on the role of India or Bharat, as given here in the agenda, in world peace, both past and present. And it is a subject which is extremely vast. I bring to it a nuance of maybe some of the military aspects to it, but that is just a narrow subset of the Indian contribution to world peace. And this, as we go on this journey, through the remarkable legacy of peace that India has had, which spans centuries. It doesn't span, it is not something which has come recently in decades, this spans centuries. It, in fact, even now shapes our understanding of international relations, conflict resolution, diplomacy, humanitarian cooperation. There are so many such philosophical underpinnings which guide the Indian actions globally and which inform international actions today. So, India's contribution to global peace is not just a chapter in history books, it is a living philosophy. And that philosophy, we see that playing out in multiple arenas even today. So, what are the historical foundations of our peace legacy? The roots of India's peaceful approach can be traced back to ancient philosophical traditions. The concept of ahimsa or non-violence is perhaps India's most visible global contribution to peace. This principle was popularized by Mahatma Gandhi during the independence movement. It transcended national boundaries and became a powerful tool for social and political transformations. And we know that some of the ready examples which come to mind is the civil resistance movement in the US, spearheaded by Martin Luther King Jr., then the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa with Nelson Mandela being part of it. They were all, vociferous and extremely outspoken followers of the principle of ahimsa and non-violence. But beyond Mahatma Gandhi, India's ancient philosophical traditions have consistently emphasized harmony, mutual respect, peaceful coexistence in the true spirit of what Sri Ravi Ayerji had said before, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the whole world is my family. So when you deal with the whole world as your family, you go extending your arm or your hand of peace. So that is the spirit which underpins the Indian approach to establishing a legacy which is peaceful in its first orientation. We will come to certain aspects as to how peace also comes from strength, and that is where I'll bring the nuance of military to it, because peace does not, for peace to happen or to exist between two individuals, two countries, two communities, it has to have reciprocity. The intention would be right, but unless there is reciprocity, there is no peace. So how do you ensure reciprocity, and what does the Indian example give in terms of reciprocity? So that is something we will touch upon very broadly as we go forward. Now, the Buddhist principles of compassion and non-violence, originating from the Indian subcontinent, spread across Asia and eventually influenced global humanitarian thinking. We are well aware of all this. So, in terms of the post-colonial era, this is one example which all of you know. Post World War II, the world was riven into two camps. You had the Warsaw Pact led by communist Russia, then Soviet Union. You had the NATO Pact led by capitalist US, and the world primarily aligned itself with both parties. So India, along with a group of other founders, showed the courage to tread the non-aligned path, wherein they said that we don't belong to either camps, because belonging to either camps is a recipe, or it manifests into hostility, into acrimony. So we will follow a non-aligned path, and we will go on a case by case, decide as to which side is right based on the merits of the issue. So, as a founding member of the non-aligned movement in 1961, India played a crucial role in maintaining global equilibrium in the Cold War. And we are all aware that we fell on the wrong side of the US then, because we refused to be part of some of these security architectures which came up, whether it be SEATO, whether it be CENTO. So these were some nomenclatures which were, certain treaties which were primarily military in nature, which we didn't form part of, and that is how their outreach to Pakistan increased. They armed Pakistan as a treaty member, and they supported Pakistan at that time. So, but India continued to tread this non-aligned path, notwithstanding the impact it was having. That shows a lot of courage of conviction in terms of the governments which were in place then. Because at that time, in those days, there was no social media. People had actually no idea what was happening globally. So whoever took those calls were showing extreme amount of conviction in what they were doing. So the Indian leadership in the non-aligned movement, more than what it meant for itself, also provided a platform for countries seeking to maintain their sovereignty without aligning with the superpowers, thus promoting global peace and stability. At some time, if I'm not wrong, the non-aligned movement counted as its membership more than 130 countries. That is a huge part of this globe. India consistently advocated for, now this is where our legacy of peace drawn through centuries comes in, peaceful resolution of international conflicts. This has been a cornerstone of our foreign policy even today. Nuclear disarmament. Now, we have been stating that there has to be global nuclear disarmament. There cannot be certain haves who have nuclear weapons and certain have-nots who are denied it. That was what was the rationale of our nuclear program. That if there is going to be a level playing field, we accede to this point, there should be global disarmament. So we continue to stand for global disarmament in spite of showing and proving our nuclear capability, as again alluded to by Sri Ravi Ayerji. But having said that, we are one of the first countries which has said unilaterally and suo moto, no first use. It has not been qualified that against a non-nuclear country we will not use. We have said we will not use nuclear weapons against anybody as the first user. So again, that takes a lot of courage to declare that as a policy, because for all those who think strategically and who follow this, the very deterrence nuclear weapons provide is in its first use, right? So if you are saying that I eschew or I give up my first use capability, you are actually saying that I don't want this strategic advantage. So this is a extremely, a psychologically deep subject as to how nations respond. But nobody, that is why, gives up no first use, because they want its deterrence effect to manifest itself in relationships. But we have done that. We have said there will be no first use. In fact, we support the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, the Chemical Weapons Treaty, every treaty which aims to bring about a reduction in suffering, we have signed it. You can't ask for a more, credible proponent for global peace. Anti-mine, you have something called the anti-personal mine treaty. The US doesn't sign it because they view anti-personal mines as an instrument of war fighting. But India has signed the anti-personal mine treaty, saying that anti-personal mines cause unnecessary suffering. You have disability to limb and life, and you have people in far-off countries who get affected. So a lot of these, the Jaipur foot and all came up because of mine casualties. So we signed it, saying that it is not the right weapon, while you know most militarily oriented countries don't sign this. So these are some of the issues which shows the courage in treading a very new path towards global peace. Normally, countries which are in a position of strength do not talk or do not hew to the path of peace. It's countries which are not in a position of strength speak on peace. But this is an outlier that we are in a position of strength. Still, you speak peace. So that is again underpins the legacy of Indian contribution to global peace. And I would not, I'll be remiss if I don't recount that your Panchsheel principles, frankly, which was enunciated by our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, are the principles of peaceful coexistence. It didn't work out in our neighborhood, that's a different issue. And that is why the military nuance of ensuring peace needs to be also considered when we talk about global peace. So now I come to something which is which is more military related. India's most visible face in contributing to global peace are its blue helmets. That is, the Indian contingents and Indian troops who go to maintain peace under a UN umbrella. So the UN peacekeeping mandate gives you the United Nations to carry out peacekeeping operations or peace enforcement operations, wherein you need not have the agreement of both warring parties to deploy a force. So that is peace enforcement, and of course humanitarian operations. So the India has been the largest contributor to UN peacekeeping forces in its whatever 79 or 80-year history. So there have been more than I think about 79 or 80 peacekeeping missions. India has contributed to over 50 of them. We have contributed troops. We have contributed personnel who are engineering and qualified personnel. We have contributed medical personnel. And we even now when we look at it, the first peacekeeping mission which we contributed to was the Korean War, right? 1950 to 54. Now that is where post independence our first effort in playing mediator and trying to put a stop to a conflict came to fore. And India was one of the major negotiators for due to which the armistice was signed in Korea between China-led towards the North Korea across the 30th parallel and the US-led forces which were to the south of 30th parallel. And a son of Karnataka led the first, what was it called? Neutral Nations Repatriation Committee. At that time, Major General K.S. Thimayya headed the first NNRC which went to Korea, which said that there should be no forcible repatriation of prisoners of war. A lot of prisoners of war who were present with the US side didn't want to go back, fearing prosecution in their countries. So, India lobbied hard to say that no one should be sent back forcibly. The other countries fell in line. The UN passed a resolution. Other countries said you should lead it. And that is how the NNRC, the Neutral Nations Repatriation Committee, was led by then Major General K.S. Thimayya. And we sent a brigade there. It was called the Custodian Force India. So the job of it was a brigade-sized force, and it was led again by a Major General, a brigade-sized force, Major General Thorat. and their job was to establish these staging areas and these encampments wherein prisoners of war were kept, and then they were repatriated to their country of choice or whichever place they came from. So, and in the Korean War itself, when the war was going on, you are all aware of 50 para brigade, parachute brigade. We have one independent parachute brigade which is airdropped. The 50 parachute brigade sent an ambulance. They said that because of the war there are going to be casualties, you are never going to have enough facilities to take care of the wounded. So we sent not a warring unit, we sent a medical unit to try and mitigate the suffering which was happening there. So 50 para brigades field ambulance, it's called a field ambulance, was sent there with its 150 people, and they gave life-saving care there. So now in terms of numbers, all those who follow numbers, over 250,000 people have participated in UN peacekeeping operations thus far. As I said, over 50 UN peacekeeping missions. We had substantial deployments across all 5 continents. I myself was a UN military observer in Angola. It's an African country, and in fact, we stayed. This was the second mission India sent observers to, in the 90s. The first one was, third, Somalia, Cambodia, and then Angola. And I saw the amount of credibility that Indian peacekeepers had. The local population, whenever they were asked as to which is the battalion, and we had multiple battalions there. You had Romanian battalions, you had Uruguayan, you had Brazilian. So whichever country sent a battalion, when the locals were asked which battalion would you require, which would you want to monitor the ceasefire, invariably they would ask for the Indian battalion, because their faith in the impartiality and the proactive actions taken to prevent conflict was high. So, in fact, we stayed there for 18 months. Normally, a UN tenure is 1 year, but as luck would have it, I think Jonas Savimbi died at that time, who was one of the rebel leaders of UNITA in Angola, and our mission continued. So, historically, we have been to every conflict zone as part of the UN mission. And even now, we have about 9 active UN missions we are contributing to. You have an entire brigade in Congo. So South Sudan, we have just come out. So if I'm not wrong, Golan Heights, we still have observers. Ivory Coast, we have Haiti, Liberia. So in fact, somebody was talking, Ravi Ayerji was talking about Rwanda. Rwanda, we had our observers there, during the Hutu-Tutsi conflict, which happened then. The Tutsis were, there was a large-scale massacre of Tutsis at that time. And our observers were sent at the, to Rwanda, and we were deployed there for quite a considerable period. Mozambique was one of the, the place where the Americans deported a lot of their African Americans into, not Mozambique, Liberia. So we sent our people. So we have, our experience in peacekeeping is, in this I want to highlight one more thing. This is one of the USPs of India. Even today, we have something called a Center for UN Peacekeeping in Delhi, right? It is a college, a university-like establishment which trains peacekeepers from other countries. And we are able to do that because of our hands-on experience. Now, a US cannot train peacekeepers. Why does the US not train peacekeepers? They have never been peacekeepers. They don't serve under the UN flag. They don't serve under any flag other than the US flag. So they have never been to a peacekeeping mission. However, you go to any country where the peacekeepers are deployed, the civilian staff which is managing funding, which is managing policies, will generally be US or European. And the people who are at the interface of the fighting which is going on will generally be countries which are developing. That is a fact. So the very fact that now we have gone into more in the training mode, I think it should be the next step wherein you go into the policy making mode. Of course, the US justifies its control over this, saying that we are the largest contributors to the UN in terms of budgetary support. So we stop contributing, the UN shuts down. So to tell us that you should not be part of it means that our money goes out with it then. So, but slowly as our capacity increases and we are able to now put more into these missions and into these activities, hopefully our say in this will increase. Right. So UN has been, and that includes also humanitarian ops, a lot of humanitarian ops, as I said, demining operations which we carry out, rehabilitation of mine casualties in third countries which we carry out, training of police forces and training of military which we carry out. All these come out of our UN heritage, contribution to the UN peacekeeping and the UN humanitarian operations effort. And this is if when we ask for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council, one of the major planks on which we ask for is our contribution to UN peacekeeping operations. Because we put people in harm's way. And when you put people in harm's way, you are paying the cost in blood. And we have paid the cost in blood. So, 175 Indian peacekeepers have died in trying to maintain peace. We have contributed 17 force commanders, which is a huge number in percentages. 17 force commander is the highest military persona in that country where the UN is deployed. So till some time ago, hardly 2 years ago, even in Lebanon, the United Nations force in Lebanon was headed by an Indian general. So it's changed recently. So they have a policy of rotations, but we have had 17 force commanders and multiple gallantry awards. We have, one Paramveer Chakra was won in Congo. The first intervention in Congo. Correct? Yeah? Sorry? His first PVC was won, Gurbachan Singh Salaria, a Gurkha officer who died, a captain. So you had, I think, 6 Mahavir Chakras which have been awarded, 20 Veer Chakras, and about 9 Shaurya Chakras, and I think 2 or 3 Kirti Chakras. So when you look at it, these are all very high gallantry awards. So that means we have paid the cost in blood, right? So if you have paid the cost in blood, then it gives us the right to say that we should be counted in the policy making body. We are required to be included in that, because when you take the policy, we pay in blood. So this is one of the major planks of it, and of course the Indian government recognizes India's peacekeeping efforts. In 2020, the government issued a stamp commemorating Indian peacekeepers marking 75 years of United Nations. And the stamp was released with a UN, an Indian soldier under the UN blue beret on it. So I think it's a 5 rupee stamp. I'm not too sure. Okay, now I would like to come to beyond conventional definitions. Like these are all clearly visible signs of peacekeeping which we have done. But we have been, even when we go beyond the conventional definitions of peacekeeping, even pre-independence, we fought in World War I. It was not our war. No, the number of 1.4 million Indian soldiers participated in World War I. So we fought for peace to come. We fought against tyranny. We fought against an Axis grouping. So, and we lost some 74,000 Indians died in it. Not too many people know this. It's only of late that we have started acknowledging the sacrifice of Indian soldiers in pre-independence world wars, right? So 1.4 million is no small sum. In fact, in the Second World War, and when we fought with the British against the German powers, the German alliance, so we were the largest troop contributing country with the allied powers. We were contributing the most troops, some 2.5 million. And again, 87,000 died there. So, in Flanders and a lot of, these Second World War graves commission, you find huge tracts of land which only you find Indian graves. So, even so, it is when you go beyond this, we have fought, like now Mysore Lancers. I thank them for the such a kind gesture in acknowledging and honoring me here. I have done nothing beyond just supporting them, which anybody else would also do, because ultimately they are carrying forward military heritage. Mysore Lancer, every event which they do carries forward military heritage. In fact, if you notice, anybody who goes on Kabban Road, you will see that on the parade ground, when I was sub area commander, I got a huge gate put, which is, and got Field Marshal Manekshaw's statue installed there, because till now, there was not a single sign on that parade ground which said this is Field Marshal Manekshaw Parade Ground. So until we bring in the symbolism of sacrifice, symbolism of military action, unless you have that clearly visible, you will. There is not going to be much of awareness that everybody is talking about. And as the previous speaker said, if there is there is not going to be awareness if that symbolism is not there. So we got that whole gate done, and then I've got 10 the topmost gallantry award winners of Karnataka, which there are a number of them, but we had space only for the 10. So we had to select the topmost gallantry award winners from Karnataka, and we got their bus placed in both sides of that gate, so that when on 26th January and 15th August you have these ceremonies which the state government conducts on that parade ground, a lot of people come there, more than 5,000, 6,000 people come there. If they walk through that, it brings back the actions, it brings back the qualities, and it brings back the sacrifice made by people who are born from this soil. Right? So that was the aim of doing that. So this kind of recognition is extremely important, and that therefore, while I should have thanked you earlier, but I would like to thank you now for taking the time and the gesture of honoring whatever value of service which you think has been provided. So now the other thing of peacekeeping, which is not much talked about, which of course many of you are from my generation, so you would know that, was the Indian peacekeeping force in Sri Lanka. That was our first attempt at regional diplomacy and bringing about peace. We are not an expeditionary force. We are, if you ask me, though it is not stated in any manual, we are a self-defense force. Because we have never had ambitions of going beyond our territorial boundaries. Our whole aim of India as a country, the Indian government, and the military as a tool of the Indian government has to safeguard territorial integrity. It is never to occupy areas which do not belong to you. So this was our first attempt to try and broker a role in regional peacekeeping duties. So we went out to Sri Lanka 1987. We came out in 1990. You are all aware of the dynamics of it as to why that operation failed, but it did fail. And we went in under the Indo-Sri Lankan Peace Accord, signed under one Prime Minister, and we came out under the instructions of the next Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. And there were many lessons we took from it. But having said that, during the time we were in Sri Lanka, we also had one successful diplomatic peacekeeping overture. That was in 1988, Maldives. I don't think you are aware of it. Yeah, so Gayoom was the president there. Now we sent the same parachute brigade which I talked about. The parachute brigade was carried in aircraft of the Air Force, landed there. The Indian naval ships came up to the coast of Maldives to give gunfire support and to interdict. This coup was attempted by a Maldivian businessman, Lutufi, I think that's Abdullah Lutufi, along with military support from a Tamil terrorist organization, PLOTE, People's Liberation of Tamil Elam. So they sent their cadre. This individual bankrolled it, and they came in a frigate, and they occupied certain areas. Then the Indian brigade was sent there. So they got back, they killed or captured all the people, including the Indian Navy intercepting the frigate which was trying to go back to Sri Lanka. And everybody was apprehended, killed. They were sent back to Maldives, and they were sent to jail in that. But we averted the overthrow of a government through the use of military force to keep the peace. Right? Now, the interesting part, which I didn't know before, it's only when some time ago when I was doing some reading on this, Gayoom didn't ring us up first. You know the countries we reached out to first? Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Singapore. All of them said, we do not have the capacity to help you. Then he reached out to US and UK. US and UK said it will be too late for us to respond. please ask India. And that is how he came and he asked, requested, and we reacted, I think, within 18 hours or less than that. I'm not very sure. But we responded right away. And while during the debacle of the Indian peacekeeping force in Sri Lanka, I'm talking about only the political debacle, because militarily we acquitted ourselves well. We paid a big price there also, more than 1,000 soldiers killed in that. So we had this success regionally of Maldives. So that is again an aspect which showed our capability, because we were developing capacities. Now that is why I want to come to the next point when I said it has to be more nuanced. We have to consider one fact, and the fact is we are surrounded by inimical and hostile neighbors. You may want peace, but if your neighbor doesn't want peace, there is going to be conflict, right? If there is going to be conflict, can you depend on your need for peace to safeguard you from the conflict? You cannot be. You cannot be dependent on that. Therefore, the first, it's a German term, parabellum. Parabellum means for peace, prepare for war, right? If you want peace, you have to prepare for war. So, the deterrence of a military capability is what drives peace. The deterrence provided by your military capability drives peace. So, if you do not have a strong military and you do not have strong capabilities, there is no country which is going to take you seriously and avoid conflict. So, it only reinforces the need to be militarily strong. Even if you have a completely peaceful intent, you cannot avoid being militarily strong. Because with the lack of military capability is what is going to lead to nations trying to take advantage of perceived weaknesses. So, if Iran cannot respond today, it is militarily weak. But if, let's say, Iran was a nuclear power today, would it be pushed the way it is pushed at some points? The reason why Israel can fight with multiple enemies is because it's militarily strong. If Israel says that we want peace and it only prepares for peace, it gets run over. It is able to stand tall only because it's militarily strong. So the deterrence of a strong military cannot be gainsaid if you want to be a peace-loving nation. That is the contradiction in this entire thing. So, but when you look at it beyond the superficial, you realize there is no contradiction. That is how it works out even in personal, individual relationships. It all works out as to, well, if I can take advantage, people take advantage. If they feel you cannot take advantage, people don't take advantage because there may be consequences. If there are consequences, you don't take advantage. So that happens with the nations also, right? In addition to that, the Indian peacekeeping role or legacy, there is two more things I want to highlight. One is our support for multilateralism. We have always supported multilateralism. That is what is one of the underpinnings of our need for strategic autonomy. We don't like to fall into group think, into convention, a set of 8 people decide we will do this. We don't like to follow, like you find most of the American allies don't question the right or wrong of it. If the US intervenes, the other feel bound to intervene in solidarity. But that is not what we do. So our support for multilateralism is what also gives us credibility when we speak on the global stage. So, whether it be UN reform, United Nations itself, we support the United Nations, irrespective of its weaknesses, irrespective of its non-effectiveness. We support United Nations primarily because it is a forum which represents multiple voices, probably the majority in this world. You cannot disregard those many voices. Only thing is we want those reforms to make it far more effective. So similarly, regional stability, we try to foster it through our attempts through the SARC, the Indian Ocean Rim Association. Primarily, our aim for peace is to ensure stability and prosperity. Once you ensure prosperity and stability, the conflicts and the instability driven operations which get generated, those get done away with. So, and of course, I don't have to speak more on the G20 and the BRICS. So we now represent, as part of the G20, we represent bulk of the nations in the globe, with the African Union being part of it, and we provide a counter view of a Western-led G7, and that capability and that ability to dictate and influence on the global space is only increasing with the growth in our capabilities and the growth both in terms of our I dare say, technological, economic, and military capabilities. So humanitarian assistance, I don't have to, a lot of times, I still remember the Yemen evacuation when General VK Singh went with the first aircraft to get back people, Indian expats. And if I'm not wrong, about 8 European countries said, please get back our citizens also. So that is what military capability gives you. It gives you the ability. And how did you do it? Because you had the C-17, the aircraft. You had ships which could go right up there and pull out people. You had the wherewithal to influence in faraway Yemen, and you did it. And we got back the community. Even now in Ukraine, we pulled back those students by sending our aircraft. And the, the reason it happened is because of the Indian credibility with both parties, both Russia and Ukraine and these neighboring states. It could never have happened otherwise. So there is something to say for following an ethical path. There is something to say for not following groups and blocks. There is something to say for treading or adopting a multilateral posture. So it's I think that there are many things which we get right in this, and that gives a lot of dividends as we go forward. And soft power and cultural diplomacy, again, whether it be Yoga Day in the UN, a lot of our philosophical thought process in good health, harmony, peaceful coexistence, all these are generated through this kind of diplomacy, right? I would now only like to, because I think I've taken a lot of time, so India's emergence on the global stage as a world leader has it's grown increased in pace in the past few years. And one of the examples which I was going to give was the COVID one, but it's already been covered. We came, when we sent those vaccines to many countries which were not being afforded those vaccines by developed countries, it gave us enough credibility. It gave us a lot of goodwill amongst these countries. So, but as we reflect on India's contribution to global peace, we also recognize that peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but it is a dynamic process of understanding, respect, and collaborative progress. So, a lot of times we conflate peace with there being no conflict happening. That is not so. So, India's journey offers a powerful narrative of how philosophical principles, diplomatic strategies, military capability, and humanitarian efforts can collectively work towards building a more peaceful world. Thank you so much for your such a patient hearing. So, I'm sorry if I've taken more time, but thank you again. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
I think, can we just keep the question for the break? I'll tell you why. We have one more very passionate person who's come all the way from Mysuru. Panindra, are you here? Yes. Sir, now we are giving you another challenge because, as I told you, you are still our Major General K&K. So, he has come, he's an engineer, and you see, if you look at the Indian Army structure, there is an Assam regiment, there is a Rajput regiment, and Jaipur, they took our emblem and set up the 61st Cavalry in Jaipur. And there is, so many regiments. Maratha regiment is there. Why there is no Karnataka regiment? Why there is no Karnataka regiment? So, sir, please use your good officers. Yes, good officers. No. I'm requesting Panindra ji. He's come only with a request letter. Panindra ji, come here. Just give a 2 minute why you are requesting. The work has started. So because it is all about Karnataka, so he has come with a letter, sir, through your offices, if you can forward it.
But the ideal one is the present.
He will do that. We will do that also. Yeah, yes. Come. officially we'll do that also. Yes. Just talk and 2 minutes.
Namaskara ellargu. My name is Panindra. Basically, I'm an electric engineer in oil and gas sector, and I'm part of executive team of Abhyudaya Keshav Kripa Samvardhana Samiti, and also founder of One India Strong India. We have been working for peace, prosperity, and national harmony in Kashmir since past 12 years. Now, our One India Strong India team basically has volunteers from all the various Seva projects across India, and we have taken up this project or mission for Karnataka Regiment. So our team is trying to build public this one opinion on this, number one. Number two, we are meeting all the leaders, politicians, military, police, press, everybody. Number three, we are trying to create more awareness by public meetings. The reason why we are asking for Karnataka Regiment, in the first place, we are not for regionalism, because we all are working with army and all the paramilitary forces in the Kashmir also for their building goodwill with the Awam. The reason we are asking for Karnataka Regiment is to carry forward the military heritage legacy starting from the ancient. The first who defeated the Arabs was Immadi Pulakeshi. And then from there, if you come, the Mysore Lancers. If these are only in the books, it is of no use. Because we travel across the villages every week. And when I ask the children, what do you want to become? Children say, I want to become police. That is good thing. But the same thing when I go to Kashmir, Jammu, border areas, I meet the children there. I ask, what do you want to become? They say, I want to become a soldier in the Indian Army. So this difference we can see. And so to change this, we need a regiment here which will be linked with the military heritage and with the history and the culture of Karnataka. And for that, Mysore Lancers Foundation, Uday Bijre sir has been supporting us a lot. And I think this may take maybe 5 years or 7 years, whatever it is. But if no matter how small the hammer is, if it continuously hit the stone will break. And we all, we have left our big carriers. I was in Brunei. We all have left our big carriers and came back to India. And we have a mission. That mission is to make India strong militarily. And for that, through civilian approach, whatever we can do, we will try it. And we need support of you, sir. Thank you.
But I just have a point in this. There are two.
Sir, come here and talk.
Yeah, there are, this issue of having state. Firstly, I think it's a time gone by. It's no more should you be having regiments which are, state specific, at least in names, or caste specific. Especially so when you are in the same breath, you're also saying One India, Strong India, right? So it's a very debatable subject. Now let me also tell you one more thing. In spite of having just one Madras regiment which services Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, you are still not able to meet your recruiting numbers. You cannot get a regiment unless you have the numbers which can fill up those, right? You have now 4 states here and you're still not meeting your recruiting numbers. Because there are multiple reasons for it. I'm not, one of it is even awareness, I would put it. And second, maybe they have better options, right? In the South, by virtue of their, there is no denying the quality of living is better, education standards are better, their awareness is better. So they go for better opportunities. Now, why do J&K say that I want to join the army? There is no other option. That is the only option he has. Why is there so much of, somebody asked me this about Agniveer scheme. Why is there so much of resistance about Agniveer scheme from certain states? Because they are oversubscribed 10 times. You recruit as per something called a male recruitable population. A state like Uttarakhand has a certain number of vacancies. It oversubscribes 8 to 10 times because that is the only job they all want. It's a government job, so everybody flocks to it. Here they have multiple options. So while your ideas, I do not know whether you'll get the numbers. So ultimately, to my mind, you are going to transition to a nameless regiment. At some point, 10 years which you're looking at, you will not have any of these names. You will just have, a number. Yeah, a number which represents India as a whole. So that should be, I think, I don't know, that's my personal view.
Sir, thank you. I think, sir, Parindra ji has come all the way. So kindly, we'll take it offline. Kindly take this letter on our behalf. Okay. So accept it later. I think, we will.
Glad to take
Yeah,
it through
yes, yes, we will do that.
Saveria,
Yes.
if you wish to.
Come, come. Come. Come, Parindra ji.
See, this photograph frankly has no meaning because
Yes,
I
yes.
have no role in this.
You are our patron, just a supporter. You can give your views.
For your
Yeah.
opinions.
Okay. But my opinion, I gave you my opinion. I think everything should go into a classless and stateless
That's
nomenclature.
what we have been getting from everybody. So until then, let there be Karnataka region.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ravi Murugan sir, for coming to this function and being with us for right from the morning. And you have been a great support for us right from the day the Mysore Lancer Foundation started working towards the cause of creating awareness in the society. So I hope you will continue to support us in our future endeavors as well. So thank you very much for that. And now I would like to call upon Sri Rohit Chakratirtha sir for coming and delivering in speech on Bharatiya Parampara inscription at the grassroots. Please.
I know we started late, but I request your patience. I am requesting Rohit ji also to stick to the time. Kindly. But anyway, today is a Saturday, there's lunch ready, so served. But we have some very good 3-4 more speeches. So kindly be patient on this, okay? Thank you.
भवत्यदन भवदिडमुखोऽस्पिवाग्नि जडमतिरपि जन्तुः जयते त्राज्ञमूले सकलवचनचेतो देवता भारती सा मम वचसि निधत्तां सन्निधिं मनसि च. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಗ್ರಾಸ್ ರೂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲಿಂದ ಹೇಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮನ್ನು ರಿವೈವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್. Probably I would take lesser than 15 minutes. So because I'm going to speak only on some points. Since morning we have been hearing a lot of things about military, defense and so on. And now I'm getting into education, a completely different subject. Indian education, Indian knowledge system, IKS, is in news now. For last 3-4 years, we have been hearing a lot about IKS everywhere. Even engineering colleges have been, they have started courses on IKS. There are some grades, there are some credits for IKS. Now here, I'm going to speak only on how we can revive or how we can talk about, how we can bring some knowledge about IKS in the education system. And when I say education system, I'm not talking about universities or colleges. I'm thinking about the grassroots level, that is the primary schools and high schools. But before that, I also want to tell you we are in the 6th or 7th stage of this renaissance. In the sense, see, there will be different layers, there will be different levels of ignorance and getting to know that what we have lost. The first stage was a few centuries or few millennia ago, where we started losing our heritage, we started losing our knowledge, or because of various reasons, because of invasion or some other reasons. That is probably the first stage, and we were panicked. We knew that we are losing something. A prominent example is burning down Nalanda University. All the teachers and scholars were running around with their books and scriptures. So we knew that we are losing the battle, we are significantly losing some of our great repository of knowledge. But after a few centuries, we got into the second stage, where we were completely indifferent and ignorant about what we have lost. This always happens. I have seen people who are refugees of Bangladesh. About 25,000 people are staying still in Karnataka. The first generation, which has seen the violence in 1968 and 71, they were they couldn't talk about the loss they had. They were all tears. But the second generation, who were born here or who were small children when they came to India, they had no idea. They had no what do you say? The idea about the kind of loss they had had. So the second generation will always be ignorant, indifferent about what they have lost. So like this, there are many stages. Maybe the third or fourth stage where we start realizing that what we have lost something and we have to revive it. And maybe the fifth or sixth stage where we start glorifying. Like probably I think we are in that stage where we talk a lot about our past and we say we had everything but we have lost everything. So we start glorifying. Probably we have to come to the next stage. That is, there should be a balance. So we know we have lost something, but we should know how much can be revived, how much is relevant, how much is credible. So that probably is going to give the balance. So we need to get into that stage. So this IKS or Indian Knowledge System uh, is going to give us a glance about what we have lost. I'm not only talking about science or technology. I'm going to give you some points. Maybe you can add a lot more points into it. First is, because of IKS, because of loss of IKS, we got into a lot of theoretical teaching or learning. Let me give you a small example. When we started reviving or revising textbooks some 4 years ago, the Minister of Education, he was telling a lot of history textbooks have been distorted. So there is a lot of distortion in history. I told more than history, we need to revise science and maths textbooks. He was like perplexed. He was thinking, why? Because everybody in the whole world is learning the same thing. So what is there to correct there? What is the distortion there in science and maths? But if you go deeper and if you start analyzing the science and the maths textbooks that we have been using in our school system, you will get to know that there is a lot of distortion more than what has happened in the history textbooks. There is a lot of theoretical learning. So when I say theoretical learning, most of the textbook writing happened in the 16th or 17th century, and that was carried over because we were colonized by British, and British taught the entire world. They wrote the textbooks for the entire world wherever they went and colonized. They made the children read their textbooks, and they wrote the textbooks in the shades of the Greek and Roman writings. So always the Greek and Roman writings were more theoretical. You can take one smaller example: geometry, which is a more practical subject, is taught in a more theoretical way. the, the, the moment you start geometry, the first page itself is full of axioms and postulates. So even if you are like defining one circle, you start telling that it's a loci of a point which is going around from a fixed distance from a fixed point. All those abstract ideas have been like taught to the children of elementary schools. The most practical subject is taught in a more theoretical way. That is why it is made difficult. So maths is not difficult, but maths is made difficult. And there is a historical background to it. I'm not going deeper into it, but this is what we need to understand. Science and maths textbooks have been written by British, and they were written in their own tone, which is not suitable for Indian students or Indian education system. Because Indian education system, if you want to see how was it, you can actually go back to Shulba Sutras. You can go back to what Aryabhatta has written, was what Bhaskara has written in Lilavati. Everything is related to practical problems. So we completely left practical problems. We got more into theoretical aspects. So we need to correct this. Through IKS, we need to correct the education system. The second one, environmental disconnect. So whatever we learn today in today's education system, it is completely disconnected from the environment aspects. For example, sustainable living, or let me give you a small example. For each of these points, let me give one or two examples. When we look into the architecture, ancient Indian architecture, or even the architecture that you can see in the rural places in India, go back to, I mean, coastal places or Kerala or any other such places, Malnad houses, you see a lot of natural lighting, natural this thing. I mean, be it flooring or ceiling or whatever, everything is done in a natural, very natural way, using all the local components. But what has the modern civil engineering has taught us is you bring everything from some distant places, and you build some matchbox kind of buildings, and that is going to give you good life. No. So if you see architecture, if you see the natural farming, organic farming, or if you see the what do you say, the water uh, management systems. Take the example of Bangalore itself. Bangalore had so many lakes, and that is the most natural and most easy way of holding water, rainwater harvesting. It is the most what do you say, efficient way of rainwater harvesting. But we have lost all those things, and we started using all the modern technologies or modern ways, so that we went away from the environmental aspects. So this is completely uh, absent in the modern education system, which has to be revived. Then the third point is lack of value education. So whatever we learn today in our today's education system is making us more insecure, in the sense, the more degrees you acquire, the more insecure you become. So there are a lot of, I mean, you can see the current trend. There are a lot of suicides, there are a lot of depression problems. Everything is happening because of lack of value education. So let me give you a small example. Last year we started one competition for children. Last year about like 13 to 14,000 students wrote Ramayana exam. This year also same number, they wrote Ramayana and Hanuman exams. We give one book, illustrated Ramayana book, and they go through the book and they write the online exam. In that book there is one story about Hanuman crossing the ocean, and when he is crossing the ocean he meets one person called Mainaka, which is actually a mountain, Mainaka mountain. So he indicted something to his Rama's father Dasharatha. So he says, Hanuman, you can please rest on me. Anyway, you are crossing, you are, I mean, putting a lot of effort. So you just take some rest on me, and then you can go further. He says, no, no, no. I have one mission of meeting Sita, searching for Sita. So I have to do that work first. Only then I can take rest. This one small example, one parent came to us and told that my son always used to procrastinate. Whatever I say, any work I say to do, he always says after half an hour, after 1 hour, after 1 day. So every time he used to procrastinate, but after reading this story, he says, no, 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 Hanuman told this. So though he was very tired, he didn't take rest on the Mainaka mountain. He continued his mission. Completed his mission, and only then he took rest. So after that, I got inspired, and I start any work I start immediately. So this was the transformation of a student. I'm taking just one small example, but these kind of transformations, these kind of changes in our lives, in our children's lives, can happen only through value education, not by just teaching science, maths, and history. That is not possible. So this value education, how we can bring in our education system, we need to think of. And then the next part is, what has to be done in our education system is decolonizing the mindset. So our mind is already colonized. I need not go deeper into it, because we can talk hours and hours about colonization, what has happened to us, and all those things. So decolonizing. All these years we have been taught that we were the losing civilization. So every time we were invaded by somebody, and we lost the wars, we got defeated, we lost our lives, everything. So we are told continuously, hammered, that we are the lost civilization. We are the losing civilization. So can we tell some stories about the winners, about the achievers? For the first time in our history revision work, we started including these kind of stories. For the first time in the history of textbooks, in the Karnataka textbooks, for about 70 years, there was no story of Ahom dynasty, which ruled in the northeast part for more than 7 centuries. There was no mention of Ahom dynasty. So we included those chapters because those are the people who stopped Mughals for about 17 times. Birsa Munda. So Birsa Munda is one great uh, rebellion warrior. So these kind of stories, Velu Nachiyar. So we included these kind of stories in the textbooks so that we should get a pride of our history. So only, as you told, like, it has to be symbolized. So those kind of symbols has to be shown to the children. So these kind of decolonizing process should be done through IKS, should be done through the education system. Then the next point that has been completely missing in the present education system is the concept of seva. So there is no mention of seva in the education system. And moreover, like now what has happened is like when the parent is paying some fees in lakhs, the child expects that the teacher has to do everything. Even my homework also has to be completed by teacher because I have paid. So this kind of mindset is growing. Can we bring the concept of seva in the education system? Because when I say seva, it includes everything. So even the nature is taken care of. Because we say Mata Bhumihi Putroham Prithivyaha. In the sense, I am the son of Mother Earth. So the seva will start from there. Seva of Mother Earth, seva of nature, seva of Janaseva, which is seva of social life. So if there is a program or a function in temple, the entire community will come together and it will work for temple without having any remuneration. Seva of Desha, Rashtra, which is the national service. So this kind of philosophy can it be imbibed into the education system? So seva concept has to be included in the IKS. And then one more point that has been lost through ages is uh, exam method. In the sense, we have in the modern terminology, if I say, we have two methods: summative assessment and formative assessment. You know what it means. So summative is the entire year you are studying something, and end of the year you are going to write for 3 years and you are going to get some marks. Formative assessment is what has happened yesterday will be evaluated today, and what is taught today will be evaluated tomorrow. So this is formative assessment. Now, if you go back to Gurukula system, and even today it is existing in music and dance, still we are following the Gurukula system. If you have not mastered, if you have not perfected one raga, you will not be taught the next raga. If you have not perfected one mudra or one what do you say action, you will not be taught the next action. So formative assessment is the what do you say, it is the integral part of Indian assessment system, but that is completely lost now. So what we have done is entire year you read one book, one paper, one subject, and end of the year 3 years is going to decide your future. If you were ill or if you did not remember something, gone, your entire year's study is gone. This has to be changed. And even in the Gurukula system, we had something called Shalaka Pariksha. Shalaka Pariksha means a book is given, I mean, whatever material you are supposed to study is put on the table, and the teacher is going to put one stick in the middle of the book. It may go to any page, and the page has to be opened, and the questions will be asked based on that content. That, which means you should be thorough, cover to cover. You should not exclude anything. But today, what we have 8 questions, and we ask the student answer only 3 questions, answer only 4 questions. So this kind of system has to be changed. We also had Ghata Pariksha, which means there was a pot and a lot of chits were put there, and teacher is going to take any one chit. So whatever matter comes, whatever subject comes in that chit, there will be some questions or exam based on that. So this kind of system, this kind of evaluation used to make the child very attentive, because they cannot exclude anything. They have to include every part. Only then they will be considered as masters. So that is why we could create good singers, good musicians, good artists. But today, our present generation, present education system can create only good music critics. So they can critic, they can come sit for 1 or 2 hours, they can listen to the music and they can write some critic on the this thing, newspaper, but they cannot become good musicians. So if you want to create real talent, real ಏನು ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, so that can be created only through the formative assessment or the assessment that was existing in our Indian education system, which has to be revived. So these are some of the points. I can go on and on, but these are some of the points I wanted to bring out in front of you, because when we talk about IKS, we always think about ancient education system. We had zero, we had that, we had this, and we have to bring all those things again. Yes, definitely we have to bring all those things again. See, Indo-Arabic system, even today we call it as Indo-Arabic system because Arabs were using it, but it was actually taken or given by Indians. You believe it or not, it was introduced to Europe only in the 13th century, 1202. That was the first year Europeans got to know about Indian numerals because of the book Liber Abaci, written by Leonardo of Pisa. That was the first document where the Indian numerals were introduced to Europe. So definitely all these things have to be brought to the textbooks or the education system. But more than that, value education, the concept of seva, environmental aspects, sustainability, and personality development, all these things have to be considered, because all these were there in the education system, but we have lost it over the period of time because of so many reasons. So probably this is the starting point where we can do some changes in the elementary level or the pre-elementary level, and IKS can be brought into the, I mean, brought into picture. It can be implemented in most effective ways only if we know what is IKS. So IKS, Indian knowledge system, yes, some scientific topics, some mathematical topics, yes, all those things are there. But apart from that, these kind of elements must be brought to Indian education system. So I think that is going to change a lot, because already the process is started. I'm not saying it is completely gone. For last 10-15 years, we got into the realization phase. So we got to know, oh yes, we had a lot of things. Now we need to revive all those. The process is started, but it has to take a uh, bigger, I mean, accelerated phase, so that coming generations would be proud of our knowledge, our heritage, our ancient traditions, so that we can live a better, prosperous, happy life. This is what I mean, I wanted to communicate to you. If you have any questions, okay.
No, no, please. I think there are many speakers. Why not during the break?
Yeah, we
Sir,
can.
please wait. Rohitji. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I think, this is a fantastic thought. I think he has planted some great thoughts as to how we need to, what we need to do at the grassroots level. So one point, Rohitji, we did a very big symposium in Delhi. Professor Deshmukh was the chair professor. I think you should connect during the lunchtime. One fundamental thing we submitted, petition or whatever, request we submitted to UGC was change IKS to BKS, Bharatiya Knowledge System, because that itself is a fundamental change. Yes, I think you should connect and strengthen that proposal, because India did not exist, so many centuries or decades ago.
I even go further. I can call it as HKS, Hindu knowledge system.
Correct. So whatever, I think that is a, thank you, Rohitji. Come, I think bring the,
The
yep.
word India is an aberration. It is a 2% aberration in our 10,000 years of
Correct, correct. So, thank you. So, Dr. Sharan, I know you've been patient, and I think we would like to invite you. See, we have some extremely talented medical doctors. Of course, we have academician doctors here, but two medical doctors are going to speak. The first one is here. I'm again requesting your patience, because he is going to talk about, or rather, whatever the work Dr. Sharan Srinivasan is doing, you'll get a picture of what is the kind of talent, why India can be a healthcare capital. And he's going to enlighten us of the real work Dr. Sharan has been doing. Okay. Should I remove this? Should I remove this? Yeah. Okay.
That's the sound jack, you know, it's a power.
Sound is here now.
Yeah, that. Okay. I think so. Should come on. Is the projector on?
Yes. One moment.
I don't see it on. So as it comes on, yeah, take a few minutes, I think. Good afternoon to all of you, and at the outset, I want to thank Uday and team for this opportunity on modern healthcare inspired by Bharatiya knowledge. As we start, I want to say a couple of things. One is I wanted to be a neurosurgeon from 8th standard. So I'm living my dream, enjoying every moment of what I'm doing. Both me and my wife passed out from Bangalore Medical College, which is one of the premier government colleges in the country today. We both got our MBBS degree for 5,000 rupees. You know, we may feel very proud and egoistic that we are merit students and all of those things. But you know how expensive medical system is and medical education is. The truth is the public funded our education. There's nothing else that's happening. I got my neurosurgery degree for 75,000 rupees. So under 1 lakh, my education was done. So I had nothing to recover from the system. So though many people said you should go abroad, I was thinking that if I don't serve the public who's funded my education, I think it's going to be a sin. Which is why both of us decided to stay back and see what we can do for this whole process. Thank you. So before I start, I want to say two things. What is this? All of you say it's a pen. Is your eyes telling it's a pen or brain telling it's a pen? Can't you see with your eyes? Can't you hear with your ears? That's what we say. So usually when I ask this question, I get 50-50 answers. 50% says eyes, 50% say brain. The people who say brain say it because the neurosurgeon is asking the question. Imagine you are sleeping now. I open the eyelid and show the pen. Do you see the pen? Are you blind? Why don't you see the pen? Because eye is on, the brain is off. Is your tongue telling you vanilla ice cream or brain telling you vanilla ice cream? Is your ear telling you another song or brain telling you another song? You put your kidney to me, same susu. My kidney to you, same susu. Your heart to me, same dub-dub. My heart to you, same dub-dub. The same vanilla flavored activity from the day we are born to the day we die. I'm not degrading any other organ. But your brain to me can't do neurosurgery. My brain to you can't do what you're doing. Because it's the only organ in the body which has individualized software that nobody understands. So now I'm going to take you through an interesting journey of functional neuroscience. Before that, we all know this. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Vityoma Amitam Gamaya. I think that is an eternal shloka for all of us. I had a teacher who said, the day you stop learning, you die. So we're all students of the subject till we die eternally. So all of you know this, zero, yoga, Pythagoras, Vedic science, turmeric, the list goes on and on. Aryabhata, Chanakya, Brahmagupta, Shushruta, Charaka, Ashoka, Tamil Sangam, so on and so forth. We're all new. Are we new to innovation? I don't think so. I think, we have forgotten innovation because, like you said, we have all been taught in the education school how to become good employees. Yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full. I have been thrown out of class because I asked questions. So why are you asking so many questions? I said, because I want answers. Because I'm not saying what's going on. I'm in Delhi, the Charaka Samhita, Shushruta Samhita. Shushruta was the father of surgery. The first, the nasal sinus surgery was planned with the deviated nasal septum was done by him. There's an article in the National Journey of Maxillofacial Surgery. Shalya Tantra, this is called in Ayurveda. That about surgery. There's so many things that's there. Plastic surgery. If you see the last sentence there, craniotomy, which is brain surgery, is also practiced there. So it is amazing what is possible, what is happening. So just because, like when I went to the Ayurvedic college once to give the, the degree, the convocation certificate, government Ayurveda college, it was the peak of this Ayurvedic medicine and allopathy medicine, all this galada was happening and things like that. And they were surprised that I agreed to come for that convocation. So they asked me to talk. I said, see, as an allopathy doctor, allopathy medicine is best for emergency, surgery, and critical care. Brella was now sunavade kelsa madadu. We only do masking symptoms. We are not curing chronic disease. So I told the Ayurvedic system that the allopathic system is coming from critical care, from sickness to less sick. The Indian system is coming from wellness to less well. So somewhere there's an overlap where we hand over the baton from this medicine to that medicine. And I think that's the way it should, it's not alternative medicine. It is, it's medicine that all has to go together to make it happen. So rediscovering India, re-establishing India's contribution to the world and towards excellence in all spheres. What is ailing us from becoming world-class innovators and inventors? Why are we not innovating for the world today? Why are we in the back office of only services? Why are we not doing so many things that we should be doing? What do you think is stopping us? The only thing that's stopping us is us. Nobody else is stopping us. You don't need anything for this. It's easy to think. You don't need money. You just need to think freely. So what's stopping us? Is really the funds? I don't think so. Is it access to ideas? I don't think so. We have ideas all the time. Is it the education system? I think so. I think this education system should stop making us good employees. That's the key. A non-availability of world-class institutes, I'm not sure. Because I go, with due respect to some of the intellectuals here, when I go into big institutes and sit in those audiences, I think what happens there is intellectual masturbation. I'm sorry to say that. I said we have thousands of problems outside in the market. What have you done? Why don't you have an Indian MRI machine? Why don't you have an Indian CT scan machine? Why not? It can be so much cheaper. So we have to look at what's going on. We are guys, jugaad, frugal. We have heard of all those things. So we have to do. So is it true that Indians can innovate but not India? It's a question to ask ourselves. Is it the environment? I don't know. You have to challenge the status quo to know what's going on. So somehow this country is thriving on mediocrity. There is no josh in excellence. So adjust ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಏನು ಸರ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ತಲೆ ತಿಂದ್ರ. This is what is happening. Not only we have this chalta hai attitude, we are tolerating this attitude. And that is unacceptable. So if you bring somebody's brain to me for surgery and say, today I'm in a bad mood, will you agree? It's not going to happen. How come I have to be excellent all the time, but somebody else is okay to be average all the time? You can't have two yardsticks to measure people. You have to do it that way, or shut shop. Do something else. So and the poor work ethics. 3 o'clock appointment, they call me at 3:30 and say I'm going to be half an hour late. I said, are you serious? You're already half an hour late at calling me. So that is what is important. I think just this chalta hai attitude of mediocrity, and if we change our work ethics, I think we are a great race. This is what I have no question. I'll show you what we have done. And we are inherently indisciplined. You go to the school in the morning, the number of people who are breaking the rules is unbelievable. Everybody thinks you have to break the rule to succeed in this country, because that's what the movies show. Unfortunately, you cannot become successful if you follow the rules. This is the reality. And second is you have to push somebody down. Whether you'll go up, I don't know. First you fix the fellow. So half your energy you're spending to fix somebody. You're not focusing the energy to excel in what you're doing. That's what it is. I think these are all simple things. My moment of changing from thinking that the Western is the great civilization happened in 2001 on this. You remember that? That for me, was the turning moment for me to believe in ourselves. Saurav Ganguly is my idol for that. He went to Lords and did that. And for me, even today, I tell everybody, that belief that you can beat those guys in their den. You know what's happening? Today, we are believing in all the white skin published papers. Half of it is rubbish. I'm telling you. We can't stand him in the eye and talk. We want to change that. And we can change that. And we want to change that. So head injury, stroke, brain infections, brain tumors, spinal cord, you've heard of all of these things. And all of these things cause problems like unconsciousness, wheelchair-bound, bedridden. All these are daily problems. Speech problems, swallowing problems, seeing, writing, reading, memory. It goes on and on and on. So, yesterday Ravi Kumarji said, pick up one problem that you are going to impact. This is the problem I have picked up in the last 20 years. To reduce the burden of neurological disability in this country. That's what me and my wife and my team have done. We are doing it ourselves. The world cannot afford disability. We need to move from just saving lives and treating structural problems to improving quality of life. Very, very important. Longevity is coming, but not quality of life. So, in this Silicon Valley of India, I come from the original IT industry, which is the central nervous system. Everything else is a pale copy of what's going on. So, this is I call it functional neuroscience. It's a new topic going on, how to improve function. This is the future, not structure. So before I get into the Internet of Medical Things as a neurosurgeon, let's look at the world of neuromodulation. All of you have heard of all this. These are buzzwords today. Like you said, even the auto rickshaw driver is talking AI, all those things. So I'm going to talk about a word called RR, not triple R, double R. It's called real reality. My patients are real, their problems are real, my solutions are real, the results are real. Nothing virtual. So let's start. So let me show you some effects of misbehaving brain circuits. How many of you have heard? Can I have a microphone?
These two have become so stiff, I cannot bring it on the.
I will remember the story. Oh, there it is.
It's become so stiff.
Sorry, I think I need that.
Can you see?
7 years ago, there was a story of a patient playing guitar during brain surgery. The news had gone viral all over the world. How many of you remember that?
These two have become so stiff, I cannot.
That was done by me.
I can't.
And this is the guy I did it on.
Cannot move at all. See, can
Not
you
working. I thought this will bend,
I cannot.
but it's not bending as smartly as. It's not bending.
These two have become so stiff, I cannot bring it on.
There was a rolling mic.
Can't.
Okay, you can see that? Those three fingers are not listening to him.
Cannot move at all.
He's not paralyzed, only when he plays the guitar. So I'm doing a brain surgery when he's playing the guitar. This is a skill I learned from Japan. Japanese are a great race, I'm telling you. When I went to Japan and learned these things from my professor, I told him after 3 months, sir, I have a complaint against you Japanese. And he was very worried. They're very shy guys. I said, sir, you Japanese do $10,000 worth of work and talk $10. The Americans do $10 worth of work and talk $10,000. We look at the talk, we don't look at the work. This is our problem. Like this Adalat serial is that, jo dikhta hai, hota hai, wo dikhta nahi. It's like that at the end of the day. This guy's problem typing. And see, I fixed that typing on table. This is all instant results. I burnt a circuit 9 centimeters inside his brain. I am working 9 centimeters inside his brain while he's playing the guitar. Not millimeters, centimeters. In a live brain, it's not something that I'm doing it in the lab. Please understand. And this is him giving his first public performance. Look at his fingers moving. Are you able to hear? Huh? The music? Okay? Okay. Look at his fingers moving. Same 3 fingers. I always say, and people say, sir, you do such magic and things. I said, what we do is not as important as what God has created. That's why I always say the human body is designed for surgeons by God. So that's why we have to, kaimugi back there, what's going on. So seeing this, when Bangladeshi fellow came to me. So you see here, he was a professional guitarist. Look at how, like an Ashtavakra is doing. Look at his hands, not moving at all. He's not able to show the C with his left hand. No paralysis. He is fine. Only when he does some activity like this. This is called dystonia. He could type with the right hand, text. He could not text with his left hand. You see, the moment he holds the phone in left hand, the hand is going like all 5 fingers for this guy. He could not flip a coin with his left hand. You see that? MRI scan normal, CT scan normal, blood test normal. This is the catch. So here he is on the table. I'm burning the circuit. I'm testing all circuits. Like how electrician tests the circuits. So that's what we do. And then the two guitarists together, Jugalbandi. So this guy is a mountaineer, mountain climber. 3 months after surgery, he called me and said, Doc, I want to climb a Himalayan mountain. I said, are you crazy? You just had a major brain surgery. He said, I feel fine. I said, up to you. He's climbed the Himalayan mountain, 7,000 meters, 3 months after surgery. And then this is him, 9 months after surgery. You can look at his fingers moving. Same fingers, you remember how slow, how clumsy it was. We go next. So recently you might have seen a story of an American guitarist who said came in Times of India and everywhere about 2 weeks ago. This guy came to me all the way from Los Angeles for the same surgery. So it took them 5 years in USA to make the diagnosis. He's been having it for 20 years. He called me in 2017. He didn't come because he says this surgery is not happening in US. That means what hanky-panky is going on in India, so he didn't trust us. Finally, he lost his job. Then he said he had no choice, so he came. He's an Indian Goan fellow. You see here? Oops.
Yes, okay. So when I'm not holding the instrument in my hand, I can play air guitar perfectly well. So if I'm playing, like pretend to play a scale,
Without the guitar, he is fine.
my fingers are going.
The moment you put the guitar, problem.
I can visualize the whole.
Strange problem. It's like black magic. Maya, mata, ella agattadu. Lot of people go everywhere because nobody knows what the hell is going on. Even doctors don't know what the hell is going on. Anyway, so just to cut here, you can see marks in his guitar because he was constantly pressing so much. And then this is him. I was operating him with that. He got 100% result. So this is called writer's cramp. People, when they write, they get a cramp. This is a boy who was studying to be an IS officer. He could not even write half a page. 26-year-old guy from Delhi. You see the way he's holding his hand, he's holding the pen in a very peculiar way. You see this? His handwriting before he got the cramp, 1 month before surgery, the day of the surgery, he could write only half a page. And then I did a brain surgery, handwriting after surgery. This is him writing after surgery. Then, so now we'll go to tremors. Some of you have seen tremor in a lot of people's hands. So this guy had a head injury. He's a photographer from Gudlupete. So he got this problem after head injury. You see this left hand, he can't hold his camera. That's his problem. He's trying to pick up the bottle, he can't. Aktala, he's struggling. This is him after surgery. He got about 70-80% result. He's still very happy because he's able to hold the plate in his left hand and eat and all of those things. These are all fundamental things we are going on. Next, this boy had a head injury when he was 9 years old. The indiscipline in front of the roads of school. He was crossing the road to go to school and somebody hit him. Unconscious, recovered. After that recovery from head injury, for 17 years, this boy had this problem. He left school because of this.
Yeah. Place it back on the table.
He stopped school. All the time he's like this.
That's nice. We hope in the next 2 hours this will stop.
So that's with the frame to his head. I fixed it with the screws, 2 screws at the front, 2 screws at the back into his skull. And still very happy. This is him 2 days after surgery. He's able to take 2 mouths. Basic things. This is him trying to wear a shoe which he never could wear and tie his shoelace with both hands. And then this is him drinking water. He still has some trouble in some positions because it was a head injury scar. But he's managing, he's riding a two-wheeler, riding a four-wheeler, he's very happy. Next, imagine somebody like this sitting in front of you. He's a businessman from Mangalore. Imagine somebody sitting in front of you is going this all the way. You will also get psyched up. What the hell is going on? Our brain was completely altered. He got this when he was 50 years old. This can happen to any of us. Huh? All this I'm showing you can happen to any of us. These are all very democratic diseases. Like COVID doesn't look like rich, poor, male, female, rural, urban, none of those things. Very democratic. So this is him after surgery. Next. This boy is from North Karnataka. You see his neck is going like this. Up to 17 years he was fine. Amala he started this. He was going to school. Look at his father is going to leave his hand now. Watch that video. Somebody has to hold his head all the time. The father is going to turn him around and leave the head. You see what happens to him. Can you imagine? His mother has to be with him all the time. She has to take him to the bathroom. She has to clean him. She has to feed him. You can imagine. This fellow will not die. Next 50 years he will be like this. Can you imagine the quality of life for the family, the patient? It is naraka. It's not, it's unforgiving. So I had to burn both. Look at him trying to drink water. Basic things in life. I'm not asking him to go and do a job. Can't drink water. After holding the head, he's struggling. Left hand, same problem. So under general anesthesia, I had to wake him up. Because I had to get a feedback to make sure I'm not burning the wrong circuit. That's high risk. So I have to be very careful about it. This is him after surgery. He's about 60-70% better. Family is very happy. So he's going to go to bathroom by himself. Mother has got time to do her work. You know, she's not a nurse anymore. Next. Parkinson's disease. Let us look at Parkinson's disease. This Ajji had Parkinson's disease. You must have seen this handshake. Ajji bale bichala, aaj shabta hogala. Gada 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 gada. And they're fighting at home. You know, bale bichi, sound kele. Family is very, irritated with that. Night is shaking. The mattress is shaking. Ajji is not removing it. So just watch now. I am burning the circuit. Just keep watching their hand. Hand is shaking. I am burning the circuit. Stopped. That's it. It's like a switch on, switch off. That's how dramatic. This is all real, RR this is. No virtual reality business. This is her after surgery. No tremor. I'm not curing Parkinson's disease, I'm stopping the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. All these are quality of life issues. Next, this fellow was a tailor. Imagine he was stuck at home because he has both sides Parkinson's disease. You see, slowly walking, left hand shaking more than right. Even his walking was not okay. Even to get out of the house, he had to look at his face. He has got a mask-like face, hand shaking. I burned both sides of the brain. I'm one of the few doctors in India burning both sides of the brain. Because normally all these diseases get something called a brain pacemaker. The brain pacemaker cost 17 lakhs. Surgery got 6 lakhs, which means 24 lakhs. How many middle class Indians can afford 24 lakhs? Think about it. This surgery costs 2.5 lakhs. So that is the catch. No battery, nothing. So that is what is very important for us to do. Now this is him after surgery, both sides. This is him going back to tailoring. This is him walking now. He's working in Victoria Hospital. Look at him walking. Left hand side video. The confidence, even in the tension situation, no hand tremor. He's working as a patient coordinator in Victoria. You know how messy Victoria Hospital is. Look at him walking here. Look at the confidence. First video walking, this video walking. You know, you can't believe it. Next. So as you see, I'm a brain circuit surgeon. That's my business. So this guy came from Yemen. All the war gear, we have kept hearing everything. He was a victim of a war. He was, I don't know what he was. He had two pieces of, bullet in his brain. And because of which, for 5 years he was like this. You see, if he lifts his right hand, the entire body shakes. He was bedridden. He could not even turn to the side. Only left hand was okay. Other three limbs not okay. And he has so much of pain, he is in distress. He is from Yemen. And then he has to hit his leg like this for it to stop from shaking. I put a spinal cord stimulator. I put a special instrument device into his spinal cord. And then this is immediately after operation. His leg has started moving. The shaking is gone. You see now, he's showing me his toe is moving. He's showing toe movement. No, sorry. So you see here, when I touch him, nothing is happening. You just watch now what he does. Sorry, what is it? He's showing the toe movement already. Sorry. See that? He's excited because toe is moving after 5 years. I just watch the excitement on him. He's not moving anything except toe. You see that? This is the nasha for us. When every patient gets this, that's the kick we get at the end of the day. So he's saying, I have not, 7 years I had been dead. We are translating on Google Translator, all of those things we are speaking. Now this is him walking. Without a walker, he is walking now. This is somebody who was bedridden, he can at least, take care of himself. He's walking now with a stick, without a stick, so on and so forth. So the brain has apps. So from ICU to community, this is one set I do, that's called neuromodulation surgeries. The other thing we do is neurorehabilitation. Patient had a stroke, head injury, spinal cord, Parkinson's, they are unconscious, semi-conscious, no speech, no memory, no hand, no leg. We help them get better called neurorehabilitation, which is physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech, language, swallow, memory, cognition, behavior, pain. I'm proud to say that we are the only institution in India doing neurorehabilitation from the ICU till the community. NIMANS is not doing, Apollo is not doing, Manipal is not doing, nobody is doing. And this has been started by me with my people because we have to keep it affordable. Because if you can't keep it affordable, it's impossible for people because this goes on for 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. And we have also added Ayurveda to the mix. So it's like I said, it's a magic of handling software and hardware together. So why am I talking all this? Everybody's talking big picture. So the new epidemic is emerging in India, not the pandemic of the COVID. A new epidemic in India this is NIMHANS statistics of 2010, between head injury, stroke, and dementia. 3 brain conditions, forget everything else. Only 3 things, head injury, brain, stroke, and dementia. 40 lakh Indians are becoming neurologically disabled every year. Earning members like you and me who are out of circulation. Imagine, Sayala Badkala. This is the situation. We are in 2024. So imagine 40 lakh, more than 35 lakh. Every minute in India, 7 new people acquiring neurological disability. 11,000 per day. The 2024 statistics must be much worse. For sure. So imagine, next year, another 40 lakhs or 1 crore. The previous 40 lakhs, 1 crore, they're only. They're not gone anywhere because nobody is even caring for them. This is what is going on. So imagine now, what is the negative impact on India's demographic dividend? You keep on hearing Modi ji saying demographic dividend, we are the youngest country, and all of those things. If all of them are having head injuries and strokes and lying in bed, what are they going to do? Yesterday, I'm treating a 19-year-old boy with a stroke, 19. He is from Maharashtra, studying in Bangalore, took a bus to come to Bangalore, got out of the bus, complained of headache, neck pain, right side weakness, deeply unconscious now. Imagine. 3 weeks ago, I operated a 24-year-old boy with a large clot in the brain because of a stroke. So it's no longer the vice adma lagate, 40 years, 50 years, all that is gone. We are seeing younger and younger people having this because of multiple indisciplines. So this is what is happening. So what is going on? Demographic dividend has become a biggest bane because we are inherently indisciplined. When you see people on the road, two-wheeler, half of them don't wear helmet. So when I lower my window and ask, I'm quite sure some of you are also not wearing. I'm sure about that. So when I lowered my window and said, why are you not wearing? So for last 10, 15 years, how though? I give my visiting card to them. They ask, yen sir idu, nam business appa head injury. Everybody is promoting business. As a neurosurgeon, I have 4 advices. Please follow. Number 1, please don't wear helmet. Number 2, please drink and drive alcohol only. Number 3, drive on the wrong side of one way, wrong direction of the road. Number 4, when you see red light, drive faster. Why? Because it is good for my business. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. Because everybody is intelligent. Very intelligent. Day before I was walking home. There's an eye doctor living in our house road. He's on his kinetic Honda with a small child taken to school, 5-year-old. No helmet. I said, where is the helmet? I'm going here only. I said, he has my number. So now let us see the impact on this. So what is this cause we are fighting for? 40 lakh Indians, 1 crore Indians. If I can help 4 lakh such Indians who are out of circulation earn 5,000 rupees per month, which is less than daily wages, we are adding 2,400 crores to India's GDP every year. And if I can help another 4 lakh families save 5,000 rupees per month on medical expenses like a diaper by making the patient toilet trained so that the adult diaper cost doesn't come in, that 5,000 rupees can be used for the children's education and the future, which is another 2,400 crores to India's GDP. So what I'm saying, guys, is this is not a small problem to some house. This is a GDP problem. Please understand, it's a GDP problem. You have people donating wheelchairs and they take pictures. Today, you and me with normal legs can't walk on the footpaths of Bangalore. Where will that wheelchair go? No bathroom fits wheelchair because even the bathroom door is not wheelchair compatible. So we are a long way to go. So each of us have to take responsibility for this to know what is going on. So I've seen the patients selling Mangal Sutra, all of those things. We'll go. So let me show you some techniques that we do. I call it a Clinitech approach, how we do it. So this is my first patent. A novel and robust curriculum for advanced neuro rehab. You have kidney function tests, liver function tests, heart function tests, lung function tests, thyroid function tests. There is no brain function test in this world. Doesn't exist. So we have attempted to make our own brain function tests. So we are in the last stage of getting Indian patent. It's gone in 2019. This is the Indian patent. Then we went global. This is the global patent application, 2021. 156 countries. Nobody had this thing in their countries. And then I entered the US in 2022. They will only accept my application if the global patent is accepted. So I'm in the last places of defending my US patent now. Next week is my defense. I'm hoping to get it on brain function tests sitting here. These are the 4 patents we have applied for, including Internet of Medical Things technology. This is all designed by us, made in India, for India, with 100%. All our devices I'm going to show you, starting with PCB we are building. I run a technology company. I'm making my own devices because you don't need AK-47 to kill a fly. Remember one thing, people want technology. This human brain is still an old-fashioned wired model. If Sundar Pichai of Google, if his son is weak in mathematics, Google cannot do anything about it. He needs mathematics tuition, like you and me. If Sachin Tendulkar's cover drive is weak, the rover cannot do anything about it. He cannot swallow tablet, watch TV, and improve cover drive. He has to practice. The circuits have to be rebuilt. That will not change at all. So that's why this is important. So the CCAM, Government of India, runs a competition every year called the National Bio-Entrepreneurship Competition. 2022, more than 3,000 bio-entrepreneurs from across the country participated. Vaccine tech, agri-tech, med-tech, everything else. I won that competition. For the software that we have built, not for the surgeries that I do. For a software that we have built, I'll show you. So the human brain is far, far superior to any of the smartest devices in the world today. This is the smartest smart device. So I only talk smart Imagine if this crashes today. You go to the engineer. What does he ask you? Have you backed up your data? No backup? How many of you have backed up data from this hard disk? Including me, no. Imagine something happens to this hard disk. What is our fate? So what I'm doing in this organization is the art and science of reloading files, apps, and software into a crashed hard disk without backed up data and without a USB port. And that's what we are doing. Helping people brush their teeth, get back. So I call it smart rehab, specialized measurable methodologies, goes on, apps in the brain. Brushing is an app. If I say you need brain damage, they get depressed. I said in WhatsApp, in brushing app, they see hope. That means apps are it will be all right. See, we need to create hope for people. You can't make them hopeless because already they're in a bad situation. So I'll show you some more stories. This boy had a head injury, studying from Indore, studying in Bangalore. 2 months into the head injury, still not even looking at eye to eye. This is him walking in his footpath in his hometown after 7 months of rehabilitation.
Hello, doctors. Thank you so much for healing me. I couldn't express my feelings I have for you.
So that's him.
Hello, doctors. Thank you so
Now
much.
he's riding his two-wheeler there, just to show he's riding it well. Unfortunately, not wearing helmet still. So I don't know when people will learn this in this country. I just don't understand. From coma to college. She came from Mumbai to Bangalore for a holiday, going with her cousin to Nandi Hills, had a bad head injury. Look at that weird skull. Remove the skull. You can see one side of the head is inside. The skull is removed and kept in the abdominal wall as an emergency life-saving procedure. So she slowly woke up. She was deeply unconscious for nearly 8 weeks. And then, over time, she just woke up. Then we put the bone back. And then she got a little bit better. And then we started teaching her how to eat, how to put toothpaste on toothbrush. Everything has to be retrained meticulously, step by step. It is very painful work, but has to be done. And then this is her, nearly after 1.5 years. That's her eating biscuit. That's her rolling in the bed to show all this is independent. Dressing independently. So caregiver burden comes down. And then she used to make TikTok videos before the head injury. So this is her first TikTok video after she recovered.
अब मुझे जाना होगा। प्लीज थोड़ी देर और रुक जाओ ना। तुम समझती क्यों नहीं अगर मैं यहाँ रुका तो? तो क्या? तो वहाँ भंडारा खत्म हो जाएगा।
This is what we work for. This is her 15 months after the head injury. Same girl before the head injury. Same dress. This guy, HR manager from Toyota Kirloskar, had a stroke, deeply unconscious for 1.5 months, on ventilator for 1 month. I operated him, everybody had given up hope, and finally he recovered. He's coming Chamundi Betta. So this coma to cooking. This lady had brain hemorrhage, both sides of her brain, deeply unconscious. You can see holes in both sides of her head. We have operated both sides. She was having difficulty to breathe, difficulty to eat. She was not conscious. Slowly woke up. Still walking with walker, but making chapatis in the house. So this girl works for HSBC Bank. Had back pain, upper back pain, went here and there for nearly 2 months, didn't bother, neglected. Finally, she became paralyzed, leg down. What happened means she had TB of her spine. TB had eaten up her spinal cord. So this is post-surgery. She's not even able to get up. Somebody has to hold her hand to get up. She's not able to turn in bed. She needs help to turn in bed. Both legs are paralyzed. We kept on rehabilitating her. Slowly she got better. Started walking few steps with walker. Then after 6 months with 2 sticks, and then without the stick, Then after 20 months, this is how she is. In USA, for 1 hour of therapy, they charge $150. Here we are charging $12. That's the difference. This is my last bit of my presentation. This is my software platform. We call it Neurologics. So it's a complete platform for all these things that we are doing. This is a device that we have built. You see here, and the 5 minutes I'm done with it. So you see here, this is measuring. Sorry. So you see here, the camera captures the patient's video, same stick diagram, and same we get a pressure sensor there. All this device is built by us from PCB. All made in India 100%. Then I can capture it, I can put on this one, I will be sitting somewhere else, I can go online and watch this. So I can have multiple centers across the country and make sure the best person anywhere can be watching this. And that's what makes it scalable. And because I'm using technology, it becomes cheap. And because it is standardized, we can promise a basic result. And everybody just follows what we say because our wisdom is inside the system. This is for face tracking. Somebody has face paralysis, eyeball, face, everything we can track. And then this is another device we have built ourselves from again PCB up. Sorry. It's 3x3 matrix. It connects to Wi-Fi. And then, you put a card there, RFID card, this goes in and goes on, so on and so forth. Shows everything, hand tracking. So many other games are there. I think I'll skip some of these things just to show you. This is VR-enabled hand tracking games. This is single tracking. What is the benefit of our software? Personalized treatment plans. It's called precision personalized medicine, which is data-driven decisions, adaptive interventions, predictive analysis, optimized rehabilitation, and automated reporting, centralized data platform, interactive technologies, remote monitoring, and for the professional team of people training, they get data-driven insights so that they can be very objective in what they're doing. It's a collaborative platform. They can see others' results to learn the best from everybody. So you don't have to make other people's mistake. So that's why it becomes very easy. Then you have the AI and predictive analytics comes in once you got quality data coming in, tailored interventions, and that's what happens. Future prospect goes on. We have 18 3D printers. So all spoon holders to this, to that, everything we make for our patients. If you buy this on Amazon, it's 6,000 rupees. You buy it from us, it's 300 rupees. Spoon holder, this holder, whatever you want, everything we're making. So my take-home message, only technology will not work. The mantra is clean tech. A professor from Japan says, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So don't depend too much on technology. Yes. My take-home message number 2, please do not overkill with tech available. When you have a hammer in the hand, everything looks like a nail. Don't do that. Remember, frugal innovation is need of the hour. We don't need AK-47 to kill a fly. We just need a good swatter. And then I call this Gobi Manchurianizing the business. When you call Chinese food, first dish we remember is Gobi Manchurian. In original Chinese food, there is no Gobi Manchurian. That's what I call it. It's a complex process, not a 100-meter race. We have written a book. It's available outside for public. If you want to buy it, please buy it. It's lovely. It's fun to read it. And just because people's neuroscience knowledge is so poor, we have decided to start our own podcast. It's going live on December 14th. I am going to be the podcaster, me and my wife, Dr. Pratibha. It's called Rebooting the Brain. We have got a global trademark for rebooting the brain, including an American trademark for this. Rebooting the Brain Function Neurosciences, we own. Rebootingthebrain.com, we own. We also made our own web series on our life. It's called Beja Unfry. All of you know Beja Fry. We're unfrying the Beja, so you can look at Beja Unfry. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think, I'm speechless with what Dr. Sharan says. And I'm lucky that I'm not seeing him for the first time. This is the third or fourth, and we work together on so many things. I think, thank you, Dr. Sharan. We need, yes, we will call. So one comment I want to make is, passion is all what you need. So he is a doctor with 5,000 rupees. He himself said, right? Today, capitation fees is 50 lakhs, 5 crores, all kinds of crazy figures. Passion. I think passion can drive, passion can make talent, passion can make world famous people like Dr. Sharan. Thank you, doctor. So here we have another doctor. I would like to request Dr. Vishnuvardhan to come and felicitate here. He is another passionate person. Both are similar, but they come from different background. He is also a medical doctor. Come, Dr. Vishnu. I think anyway your speech is also next. So yes, ma'am. Please come, Dr. Pratibha. Yes.
So she's a neuropsychologist. So I do hardware business, she does software business. All the memory and all of those things is her business.
Bring one more. One more bouquet. Come here. Doctor, Albani. I don't think any gift is right for him, but I thought we'll give a small Bhagavad Gita to him.
Thank you.
So some more patience. End of the session, I think at least the speakers will get a copy of Rebooting the Brain. We'll take a photo with Dr. Sharan with the book Rebooting the Brain. But now, Praveen, yeah.
So now we have Dr. Vishnuvardhan with us to deliver a speech on restoring Bharatiya Parampara with artificial intelligence. So please.
When I was in school, I had read Salman Rushdie's book, and I didn't understand anything. I thought, like, what am I even reading? Later, when I grew up, I realized it's called magic realism. It's realism, but written like a magic. So the previous presentation was like magic realism, right? It was magic, but it was real. Because all those cases could have been showed by these evangelists who do drama, right? A blind man comes and then suddenly gets eyes, and then somebody is like shaking, and then he gets become better. He could have just become an evangelist and be. There is a guy, an evangelist. He was our neighbor in Bellary. So he was an unemployed graduate. So Brahmin. So they don't get jobs. So later he has become an evangelist, and today he sent his son to US in a chartered flight. His own chartered flight, not like rented for one shot. And he still retains his Hindu name. And he has a big farm, I think, in Bangalore. He has made crores. I don't know, billions, right? If you have to own a flight which can fly to US, you need to make billions of dollars, billions of rupees at least. So that's magic. He cures blindness. I don't know if you can really cure blindness, but that's, and he's doing magic, and I don't think he owns a flight, right? Yeah, no, I don't think, because when he said that I spent 5,000 rupees to complete my MBBS, I exactly remembered my MBBS. where we used to pay 2,000 rupees per year fees, and in my final year they increased it to 5,000, and we all went on a strike. Said like, how can you charge so much? It's too much. Like, like 2,000 to 5,000 is 250% increase. So we said, no, we are not going to pay, and we didn't pay. They said, okay, you can pay when you become a intern. Intern we used to get like 3,000 rupees. In that, 500 rupayi itkoli is what I did for 10 months. So that 5,000 got over. Yesterday, I was in Varta in a medical college, and they had a beautiful simulation lab and all. But I was very surprised. Like, I asked you, what is the fees of this college? They said 25 lakhs per year. Hostel fees is 25 lakhs. That is nearly 2 lakhs per month. They said, oh, we have McDonald's, we have this, that, everything in the college campus, so it's very expensive. I was super surprised. I said, like, where is education exactly going? Because my sister comes from US last year, and then she wants to put her son in a school. So I asked her, which is the best school? Somebody said Stonehill, right? So we go there, and then the fees starts at like 18 lakhs per year for a first standard, and it goes up to 32 lakhs. And then there is one Harvard school which has come in Bangalore. They did a inauguration just behind where I stay in JW Marriott, and their fees was next level, 20 lakhs or something. And then in the first shot, JW Marriott inauguration, it got sold out. They ran out of the seats. All that they had to fill got filled in virtually one day. So this high premium thing is big thing in India. So it sells very well. People love it to be that I'm sending my children for the best school in the, and then they will do anything to do that. But that's like 0.1%, which always gets highlighted everywhere. Oh, Indians can afford this many cars, Indians can do this, Indians can do that. But in reality, most of Indians can't afford many things. Dr. Srinivas will tell that, right? 2.5 lakhs is also super expensive.
He also will not pay for healthcare.
Yeah, right. Yes, and most importantly, people really hate spending for healthcare. We think that healthcare is default. I should be healthy by default. I don't need to do anything. I should be healthy. And something happens, but education opposite. You'll do anything to pay for education. That's why quota runs like that, 30 lakhs. Still middle class go there because they think it's aspirational. It's worth investing, because that's the contrast I see in life. When I was a doctor, I always used to think Indians can't afford much, but I come to the other side. Indians can afford a lot of things. Like Indians can send us to a school which is like 30 lakhs fees. It's a dichotomy. I always say that, okay, if it is, people pay only for two things. One is pain and one is pleasure, and the other one is education. That doesn't fall in pleasure or pain. It's an education. So, right? Because we all have done well in life because of our education. So we are the role models for education, which virtually education has become an industry, because they will say, look at that guy, like he used to struggle, now today he is in US. That's because he went to the school, or like he did that course, and that course became popular, and then people want to go and then study there at any cost. Quota comes up, and all these Narayana schools in the world have come up. They have made education as a business. So in all this, when I see him saying that we have to bring Indian education system, Indian knowledge system into the education, I really don't see any which way, because I meet so many universities. Everyone might be doing NEP, but they are not doing it with the conviction of the heart. It's compulsion. Government is pushing everyone to do NEP. People are doing. They are laughing. They are like, NEP ek aa gaya sir ka dard. Because we have got adapted to those teaching shops, right? Where like I set up a school, build a building, put some teachers, give some degree, get some marks, done. They pay me and go. Same with the college also. We go there, earn a degree, again go on back. What do? Go and work with some Google, some Microsoft if we are like in the top 1%, or else go and work as a back-end office if you are in that bottom 10%, 90% no job. Working in Swiggy. That's Indian education system. Really
very bad, but this is the reality. Because if you see artificial intelligence, Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, the guy who built Grok, which is Elon Musk's AI, the guys who have built Perplexity, everyone is an Indian. In my own family, we are 3 people who have built foundational models. So Facebook's Llama is built by my own wife's sister's husband. We have built Hanuman, which is in only foundational model of India. That's where I'm going to come next. So virtual Indians, we have only built, but we went abroad or we built for some other companies. We have not built anything for India. Because as you said a great, Indians do well, but like India doesn't do well. Indians do really well. I went to MIT and so I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I'm not a neurosurgeon. I'm an orthopedic surgeon by training. So I was working for UN. I was a ballistic trauma surgeon doing a lot of things in war zones. So all the military things. I have worked in Somalia. I have worked in Sudan. I have rescued people from Syria. So I have done a lot of things there. So later I really got interested in technology and I went to MIT. I said, if I have to learn technology, I should become an engineer, not just learn technology as an application as a doctor. So I went and again started, working. I have 2 master's degrees from MIT. That's how I can call myself as an engineer also. But when you said I wanted to become a doctor from 8th standard, I used to dream of becoming a computer engineer when I was in 5th standard. And my teacher scolded me saying, computer engineer ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆದರೆ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ತೀಯ ನೀನು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದರೆ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯ. That was the generation when people didn't know they were computer engineers. So then I wanted to be a computer engineer, but my father made me a doctor, so ultimately I ended up becoming a computer engineer. Now I'm both, so it kind of, I fulfill my father's wish and I fulfill my own wish, right? But so to tie up all this, generative AI is going to be the biggest revolution in last, I don't know, some people even say the best thing that happened after we invented wheel and all that. It is not an exaggeration, it's real. Because technology has been there since 100 years, but the reach of technology is very limited. We are all doing well because we can access technology, but 90% people can't access technology. Today everyone has a mobile, but if you look at the usage of mobile, it's mostly for entertainment or communication. That's it, max. Very few people use it to improve their productivity, because if you have to really use it for your productivity, you need to know language, you need to know typing, all that stuff, right? So it's complex. So that's why bottom 90% people don't properly use technology. With generative AI, this is going to change. That's going to be the biggest change now we will see. You can talk to technology. You don't need even a computer, you don't need mobile. You can just talk to the technology in your own language. So that virtually removes all the barrier to access. Now you can, like, anyone can use technology in their own language. You don't need to know English, or you don't need to. So that's going to be generative AI. That's that powerful technology which is just started to come in since last 2 years. It's going to only mature in next 10 to 15 years. So it will virtually capture every aspect of our life. There will be people who will be using generative AI, and there will be people who will not be using generative AI. Ultimately, if you see, everyone has fallen in place, right? Like 20 years back, 10 years back, everyone used to say, okay, I will not use digitization. Today, virtually we are using in every field, whether you are a doctor, engineer, tailor, everyone uses computers mostly, or mobiles. This will happen. So, but this will create 2 things. It will create huge value as a business, but it will also create huge opportunities if you do. But what are we even doing about it, right? So are we even doing anything about generative AI in India? So because I am in the midst of all this, I can tell that, imagine things as we stand today. If $100 is going to come from generative AI business, India will only capture 5 to 7% max. Though you might say, okay, we are doing a lot. No, will not, because I will tell you why. Out of $100, most of it goes for the infrastructure, the data centers and the GPUs. If you see in India, we are the biggest data generators in the world. Facebook, WhatsApp, anything you take, we are the highest number of users. we are generating huge data. Do you think where all it is stored? It's not stored in India. It's stored in US mostly. It's stored in Europe. It's stored in Singapore. Not in India because we don't have many data centers. So we are generating data. It's going and getting stored somewhere. Next, all the value we create for these companies by using them is captured in US, right? So we are talking about $3 trillion economy. NVIDIA alone is $3 trillion. There are like 3 companies who are $3 trillion, and there are many companies who are more than trillion. So I'm hoping that in 5-10 years, Elon Musk alone will become $1 trillion. Well, today is already like 340 billion. It's like 10% of India's GDP is just one person's value. So because all that value is going there, and we are not bringing it back to India because we don't do anything foundational here. We always build applications, which gives a lot of jobs to people, but how much do we get paid? 50,000, 1 lakh? What is it in dollars? Nothing. It's less than 1,000. Even if you're making a lakh, it's just you're making $1,000 per month. It's nothing. So that value we capture is very, very less. Until we really do things in India itself, it's not going to change. So the good thing is government wants to build a lot of infrastructure, but that's a big money, it's big money. Today I can't put like what US has put. Morning, Udayji was showing the graph, right? America has got $47 billion, India got $3 billion in generative AI. So we are like 1/15th of the investment is not even come in India. But it was just generative AI. If you look at the investments that go for data centers and all, we are nowhere here. That's one problem. The other problem is we don't have software also. Foundational models, any company you take, it's all built in US. Now we are going to use these models for many things. One, imagine like we are going to use it for defense. That's our biggest challenge. Defense, if you use, and our own drones turn against ourselves. This has happened in a war between Armenia and Azerbaijan, where Armenian drones turned on themselves because it was built on a technology which was not even owned by Armenia. So that can happen. Today I use Llama, that's open source model, and build my drone. And next version they will say, I won't give you the next version. Stick on with your debugged, old software. Where is the sovereignty of the defense? That's one thing. Second thing is all the knowledge we have. Today, if you work with ChatGPT, what happens? It sees India through eyes of New York Times because it's all trained on mostly New York Times data. And New York Times is a media organization which openly says, I want a South Asian correspondent. They never say India because now people have stopped using the word India. They want to call this as South Asia. So just they want to de-Indianize everything. South Asian correspondent who is openly, they want him to be anti-Hindu, anti-Modi. It's an open advertisement they have given, and they have recruited those people. Every article in New York Times would be negative against India. Even if you do great, send vaccines to world, they will say these guys are not able to vaccinate their own people, and they are like for Modi's self-aggrandizement, he is selling it to US, other countries. That's virtually any good thing can be really created into a negative headline. It all depends on your mindset, right? So if I do good also, you can criticize me, saying like all the great things Dr. Srinivas did can also be criticized. If I have the critical eye saying, oh, 2.5 lakhs in India, people make only 50,000. How do you that's so expensive? You can tell that also, right? New research ಮಾಡಿ 2.5 ಲಕ್ಷ ತಗೊಂಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, right? Anything can be criticized. So that's what, and that is the data through which all the models see India. So anything Indian would always be shown as negative things. The whole Aryan invasion theory is a bullshit. Because I also work in genomics, I know that. I have data sets of India. 78% of tribal population of India have M-clade, which is the most common mitochondrial DNA of mother. It is 62% in other people. It is 78 Indians. So they are virtually equal. People saying that tribals, Aryans came and pushed us, it's totally fake. But still, that theory gets always carried out. People are fighting Hindi. In Karnataka also it started in Tamil Nadu. It was based on fake Aryan theory. But if you have models which are not even knowing all this theory will only get promulgated more and more, because in going future, most of our knowledge will come from this generative AI only. Nobody is going to read textbooks, nobody is going to read anything. They will ask ChatGPT, they will say this is the answer. That's going to be the default. In 5 years, you will see that virtually from school homework to your office work, everything will be used generative AI. So if that models don't even understand India, that's another challenge. Banking, cyber security, so many applications are there which needs our own foundational models. But I was in NVIDIA summit, which is the biggest summit that happened this year for generative AI. India's richest man openly comes and says, I want to use, Llama, which is Facebook's model, to build my AI. He wants Geo. So Geo is going to, put a Facebook's model. Mark Zuckerberg, we all know, is like super, woke liberal, who is totally opposite India. So do we really need to, depend on a model like that? So these were all the thoughts which made me think that we should build foundational models for India, and we should do it here, we should do it with our people, with our way, Jugaad way. It cost billions of dollars to build, but we have built in millions of dollars. Otherwise, I have not raised $1 billion fund to do that. And if I had raised, ultimately American company would fund that, and so ultimately they would be dictating me terms. I said, I have to build it. I have to build it my own way, and it is built by mostly the engineers from India, but I also work with Japanese folks because they are one of the best in this field, but totally unrecognized because, as I said, they don't talk. They don't talk. My team has written 150 papers on LLMs, but they don't talk because they are even more, conservative than us when it comes to bragging about what they have done. So I went to US, kind of learned how to, talk and then brag about few things, because otherwise life mein nahi chalega. Otherwise I'm like super, introvert kind of guy. My father used to tell, never go into business because you can't talk, you can't sell anything. So, but US talks well, and that's why we always love these white people telling us to do things. All the EYs of the world, as Ravi Ayerji was also saying that, they are the ones who do our accounting. They are the ones who tell government how to, give RFPs for all the complex projects. Like, they are the ones who tell government what to do on generative AI. They are the ones who tell government on what to do on health. They come with European, all they do is American policy, copy paste and put it here, change few words. We don't have any big consulting companies in India who do this kind of basic work. So that's why the policy always will remain same, though like government changes, government's intention is there, but the people who write policies, implement policies are the same people. So because we are a democracy, we can't just overthrow the whole ecosystem in a day. So that keeps happening, but we have done two things for generative AI. One, brought down the cost of foundational models so that virtually if tomorrow some company wants to build, someone wants to build a foundational model, it will not cost billions of dollars, it will cost much, much less. That's one thing. And we already brought down the cost of generative AI by a factor of 10. So Facebook's million tokens would cost $4. ChatGPT would cost $7.5. Ours cost just 40 rupees. That's about half a dollar. And with more infrastructure coming in, I'm talking to like very big companies in India who are really wants to invest in infrastructure. That comes, we'll virtually make it millions make you big man. Let us sell in billions. The same cost what it costs for a million tokens, we'll make it for billions. Then virtually it becomes like what it has, GIA has done for data. We use so much of GB of data, we don't even bother because it's so cheap. India is the second cheapest, I think, after Israel when it comes to mobile technology. Our plan is to make India the generative AI factory by bringing down the cost, and most importantly, make it work in more than English, because simply put, generative AI is next coming of East India Company. Everything written in English. All the big models have 97-95% English tokens. So it means everything is English. All the other languages are just like Namka Vaste there. So that would make English the most powerful thing, because virtually technology has become English now. If you know English, you write good prompts, you'll get the good result. it's going to be English all the way. All our local languages, all the knowledge we are talking will also be lost, because if it's not there in English, it's not there in the world. So that's why we have built it in 35 languages. We want to roll it out in more languages. I want people to use our own language. Today, it's such a bad situation on my life that if I stand on a stage, I can only speak in English. I always love to speak like Kannada, how you spoke. I can't. By default language is English. My brain is synced like that. So that's bad. I'm teaching my daughter is 3 years, to speak in Telugu. We are Telugu speaking, born and brought up in Karnataka. Karnataka is such a great place that virtually we could learn both the languages. My daughter is speaking in Kannada, Telugu, and then Sanskrit. Last will come English when she will grow up, because anyhow English will learn. But today, if you see Bangalore, most of the kids only speak in English. She goes to the school and she comes back learning at least 10 English words, and then we have to undo that by showing all the Tyagaraja Kirtanas. It's such a complex thing for us to, because especially Bangalore is like only English. Virtually this current generation is English. But there are a lot of people outside Bangalore who speak Kannada, so that's where I want to take the generative AI. And most importantly, coming back to all this, to the education itself. Education has become super expensive because of the schools, but generative AI has an opportunity to really change it. All these great things. Like I was thinking about the way you told, like, exams, why this doesn't happen. Because I feel teachers and schools are the limitation. Every day you have to test. At that time in Gurukul, there were 20 kids who used to study with the same guru for like many years. Today, like virtually 100 kids in a class, and teachers don't have that much time. Who is going to take? So that's why I think the default is becoming this, And medicine also same thing. Doctors have so little time for a patient. Like if they have to really take care of your wellness, personal and all, I don't know how Dr. Srinivas manages so much. Like it takes months. All that was in minutes, but in reality it would have taken months, right? Like you have to put so much effort. Like which doctor has so much? He can keep doing more surgeries than concentrate on a patient who is already got operated. Because I'll tell you the business of it. I have run hospitals. Operation के दिन ICU के दिन ही पैसा आता है, 80% of the money. 20% of the money will come for next 6 months. Why do you even concentrate on the 20% for next 6 months? I would rather concentrate on ICU and also the surgery, right? That's how the healthcare system works. That's why everyone wants to do surgery, everyone wants to keep patient on ICU. After that, ALOS, average length of stay could decrease. That's the life. That's why sickness care, especially very high sickness care, is the default in healthcare, and this is in education. But education we can really democratize, because a personal AI can really change this. That's what I feel should be the real, because we should do to education what UPI has done for fintech, right? We directly leapfrog from no bank accounts to virtually everyone using UPI. Same thing should happen. More teachers, more schools were never going to come. That's physically impossible. The only way we can solve this is leapfrog everything, go to the generative AI, create a model which will learn about you, which will virtually, till you learn this lesson, perform, next lesson is not going to come. It can easily be done today with the technology we have. All I need is government support or people who are doing this. I just wanted to talk on education only because I felt like this is one group which really understands that. I talk to many people. People are like, do you want to sell LLM course? I can charge a lot and then make money. So that's the business of education. Nobody wants to solve this. And we can do it for virtually free, virtually like 100 rupees per month also. We can give that kind of personalized tutor with generative AI. So anyone can afford it. Even like NGOs can afford it for like 10,000 people. So we can democratize education using generative at a scale. Okay. Let rich people always go to the rich schools, it's always done, but for 90% people who struggle with the government schools, where teachers don't have time, teachers are not there, this can remove, and that will increase the productivity of people. Otherwise, 80% people will not come to the mainstream and will always keep struggling. Already this year, this quarter's GDP is low, so how many years are we going to struggle with this 5%, 6% growth? We'll never become China with this kind of thing, so we need to grow much faster than we grow, and the only way is to bring those 80% people into the mainstream. So that was the vision I had when I started, totally flipped everything and then came into generative AI, which is not my core business. But that's what we stand today, and we would be launching something in education by early next year, where we would be saying 99 rupees per month. It's $1 I am going to charge. Virtually personalized tutor for you in your own class. Even if your parent doesn't know anything, you can still get the best teacher which is there with you. And I'm already talking to few large school systems. If they're interested, we want to implement it at a scale, because this is my passion, and I'm just living for that day when education can be really democratized, because it has changed my life. My father used to tell, go to the best possible university in the world. That's the most highest achievement you can do. Not only me, my sister, my brother, we all three went to MIT. So he's not there today, but I'm sure wherever he's in heaven, so you'll be very happy that we have done that. But I want more and more people to do this, than what we have done in life. And that can only possible if you can democratize education. So that's why we even came back to India. I was in Boston for long years. We came back to India in 2022 to just enable to do that. We have to set up the company here. We are doing it for sake of Bharat. Yeah. So Udayanarji always has been super, since the day we met, he always, inspires me, and also calls wherever there is an occasion to come and speak. Made me meet a lot of great people who are working in their own ways in many ways to realize this Viksit Bharat, as an aspiration. And today I met many more people, super inspirational, everyone. And again, I have to thank Dr. Sharan Srinivas. Amazing presentation. I loved the energy. I was like, wow, what am I going to talk after this guy? Whatever I will speak will be like so boring, right? Yeah, but amazing, doctor. If you have an opportunity, we'll surely, I think we should be working, all right? And Chakratirthaji, we have to, really implement NEP. That we can do only with technology. I know after the government changed, things again changed, but generative AI can't change, right? So let government keep coming and changing things, but once we build technology, nobody can change. When people think that this is the easy way to learn, they will surely do it. Because I know Leelavati is the best way to learn maths, not that good. I was thinking of that geometry itself. Pythagoras and all were so boring, right? Like when I read Leelavati, I understood it's so easy to learn math. It's not complex. Today, I teach my nephew calculus, and I only use real examples. Imagine, it's a simple triangle or rectangle. You can easily calculate the area because there is a formula, but something which is like this shape, how do you do that? That's where the calculus comes from, and I tell, okay, now use this, come with an idea how you make a formula for that. That's how it becomes easy for people to understand calculus. But in reality, how are we teaching calculus? Start with integration, differentiation, that big. Yes, we see, gone. 90% people will say, मेरे को maths नहीं आता. Because we don't even see the real world application of that. So that we can change. That can easily be changed. We can learn what people's aptitude and then design a course, because generative AI is so easy to do that. But so we will be like, yeah.
More than else, when you see that something tending to infinity under differentiation, that confuses people.
Exactly, because it makes it look like this is made for only that 1% people in the front bench, right? All the 90% people need not learn this, and done. Once you don't learn calculus, done. Most of the careers are over for you, right? So, Udayanarji and Mysore Lancers, thanks for calling me. It was great meeting, and I'm sure like there are a few more speakers. Sorry for taking more time. Virtually all of us took more time, because the audience was very passionate, right? So thank you very much.
Please wait. Please, thank you. See, when I met Dr. Vishnuvardhan first, I met him as an engineer. Later, I discovered he's an orthopedic surgeon. I'm no exaggeration. We connected on email or through social media, and I thought he is one of the greatest AI engineers. And please applaud him. One is like Dr. Sharan stayed back in Bharat to build Viksit Bharat. He came back to build Viksit Bharat. Think about how if these two brains, so many millions of brains come together for Bharat, I think we will become Viksit Bharat much before 2047. That is one. And second is, you do not know. Today, our youngsters, the Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, Koramangala, Marathalli, all these fancy places, which is not part of, truly part of Bangalore. You go to the youngsters, they all have startup companies, some vague Western names. They are inspired by Facebook, they've inspired by Nvidia, all Western names. He had the guts to name his startups as Hanuman. How many of us have the guts? Huh? This is one of the biggest reason I appreciate him because, and he told me recently, Hanuman got accepted even in Turkey, correct? Even in Turkey. These are the people when Bharat needs to build Viksit Bharat. Thank you, Dr. Vishnu. Fantastic. So, sir, I would request you because you to come because they also supported us in our Mysore Lancers Haifa Day, and because of the Israel connection, they want to see. They support as of now 35 languages. Okay, their platform Hanuman. So I told them the idea Hebrew, which is a Israeli language, like Sanskrit is dying. So he is interested in that. So invited him. Come, Dayanand. You are also part of it. So I know all of you are holding your hunger. I think we have one more inspiring speakers. I think, Dr. Srinivas, please come. Because after lunch, nobody will come back. I want you to just complete that, I think shorten the time. You, Dr. Deshmukh and Dr. Vishnu again, and of course Dr. Sharan, just have a quick conversation on that, the panel discussion. Yes. Come. Four of you. I think that's how we are planning. Let us complete the process. I think, come. You please lead the. No. I think, let's. I think he's another. He comes from, in fact, Dr. Srinivas is another person who's come. He's completely the same kind of ideology. Wants to give back to Bharat, and he is a doctor based in, and he is in IISc. He is the head of health tech initiative funded by government of Karnataka. So we'll put some chairs and just lead them. Please, I think, let's put. Huh? Yeah, please put the chairs. Four chairs. Kindly just another 15 minutes, Srinivasanji. Sorry about cutting short your this thing.
No, 5 minutes.
Okay, no, 10 minutes. Please take 10 minutes. Dr. Sharan, sir, please, Dr. Deshmukh. Let's have some jewels that all of us can carry. Okay? Gap. Yeah, I can give you some gap. Dr. Srinivas, you please, I didn't do justice to your background. Kindly introduce yourself because everybody has spoken. So.
Namaskara. Hello, Namaskara. I'm Dr.
Srinivas Madhusudan. I head the CPD Med, the MedTech Incubation and Innovation Center at Indian Institute of Science. And we focus on MedTech, into that also geriatric and palliative care, which is for elderly care and terminal patients. And we extend into public health and sustainability, because public health and sustainability go together. Most of the things that impact the sustainability come back into the cycle, the health cycle, the food chain and everything, and cause problems for public health. So this is the background. And one change that you'll find is when we speak, we have the neurosurgeon with us who got interested in Ayurveda. I got interested in Ayurveda and became an Ayurvedic doctor first. Before I moved on to the more rational to do the clinical research and other areas and to the technology, and have become a medical device evaluation expert. Before coming to IAC, I was in Singapore and US. That's how my love, because I feel that whatever we speak, allopathy or the modern medicine as we call, is most comprehensive, realistic and rational systems of medicine that we have. The foundations of Ayurveda no doubt are good. The building of allopathy is maybe shaky, right? But the principles on which it has started out with evidence-based and generalized medicine. Why I say generalized medicine? The Nadi and other models of treatment are personalized medicine, to which we are now trying to achieve through technology, because human perception is limited, and because of that, our belief in our own systems of medicine has declined. And as I said, it always became a person-based medicine. If the Vaidya knows the depth, you are good. There came allopathy, which gave you the generalized medicine, irrespective of the doctor. If he is the graduate doctor and he understands the scientific principles, is based on the evidence-based through chemical, because medicine is art and science. The more scientific part of the medicine is in the laboratory. And what the surgeon does, based on the scientific principles, with complete knowledge, not just my guru said to me, I'm sorry if I'm hurting any feelings. No.
It's a no to that.
Yeah.
Not applicable.
It's not exactly said. So the scientific part of it is, which is replicable. The art of it is again personalized. This is how it goes. How the art of it can be again generalized and personalized. The tech makes such, fills the gap, is the bridge there. With this, I would like to ask Dr. Sharan what he feels. We already seen what he feels. I'd like to ask him, Sharan, what he feels in understanding the instruments used by Jivaka and others, because I have seen in his slides his reference to the neurosurgery that was conducted. The name was not there. Jivaka was the doctor who centuries ago has conducted that surgery, and I would like to understand at what point, because he has looked into Ayurveda also, of Ayurvedic treatises can be scientifically rewritten so that the bridge or the gap, the lacuna that exists in the Ayurvedic times, which came up to 14th, 15th century and disappeared, and the 21st century, how he feels to fill the gap. Thank you.
Thanks. Oops. Oh, it's not coming.
Yeah, I think stuck. You have to.
Oh, you don't have a rolling mic, huh? thought
think you can pull that around, sir. You have to use this if that's more comfortable.
Just I will switch somewhere else.
Yeah, you come out here.
that'd be funny when everybody has to. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, I really don't know the details of what was done at that time for the specific neurosurgical stuff, so I can't comment on that. But my experience, the limited experience with Ayurveda, and more than Ayurveda, see, I don't have experience with Ayurveda. I have experience with Ayurvedic doctors. So I've heard from the Ayurvedic doctors the Ayurveda. You know, I've not read the textbook of Ayurveda one. I think one of the fundamental things we need to understand in these systems of medicine is nobody says that I failed. Nobody says it doesn't work. Everybody is 100% has to work. You can't do that. There's no two things that work the same. So I have no question. The problem is saying that this is not going to work. So that is the key. I think the key is in believing to say no, not possible. I think that's the first scientific temper that anybody has to, get. If you don't get that scientific temper, you cannot be successful in science. Because Thomas Alva Edison found 10,000 ways how not to wake a bulb. It's like that. That's the first thing. Second thing is the analytics. That's where the art comes in. I was telling Sir quantum computing. For engineers and physicists, 1 plus 1 is only 2. For in medicine, 1 plus 1 is any other number except 2. So inherently, when we are taught as doctors, we have that flexibility in thinking. That has to come in to understand what's happening, and the same set of symptoms in a different situation can be a different diagnosis at the end of the day. That's what is very important. I think somebody has to go down to, first of all, they have to believe the system. They should also know the limitations of the system. Once you know these two, where I'm good at, let's put a system in place first. Where the ground is defined, clear, then what happens, at least we produce results there. So people start believing, at least ಇದಕ್ಕೆ treatment ಇದೆ. ಗುಣ ಆಗಂಗಿದೆ with less side effects. Whatever it is, you have to go through that process. Once we do that, we start pushing the line. And unless we do that, that's my take on what is happening.
Thank you very much. That means we have to understand what are the great things that have been compiled by the rishis, and also understand what are the limitations and accept it as limitations and thank them for the space given, so that we are reasonable, we are rational, and we base our future on science, because all the rishis were the great scientists of their time, right? So we continue that legacy. And a question to both you together, both of us together. There's something called consciousness, right? We read the consciousness is in one particular area in the brain, in the connections, and where we say that the neural tubules, if I'm not wrong, the tubular things where the dipole makes the changes, and that's where the consciousness is there. Quantum also works on similar principles, right? So I want to understand if they ever thought how their areas are overlapping, and whether at any point of time there can be an area where we can have an artificial circuits. As we're speaking about circuits, so my circuits are always, inclined to see if we can create circuits to maintain consciousness as a separate entity with quantum support.
You go first. So, for a hardware person, consciousness is different. For a software person, consciousness is different. So when my patient loses consciousness, he goes into coma. For me, bringing that patient back to consciousness is the fundamental thing. If you're talking about consciousness vis-a-vis the spiritual consciousness, the mind and things, it's a very different world, which is very ethereal. You can't put a finger, even today, you can't put a finger on the brain and say, okay, it's coming from here. It's all networks at the end of the day. We don't know which network is triggering what, how does it trigger. I think we are far away from figuring it out. At this, I always say, I end at the brain, the mind is one level higher. It's like that, why does somebody behave a particular way? But consciousness is fundamentally keep being awake, aware, for your day-to-day activities. There's this networks in the brain that we call as the ascending reticular activating system. That's what controls that part of consciousness. I think, and that is quite defined. We know we see how the patient progresses like this, improves like this. Those are things I can take a class on to tell you how it really goes. I think the human, it's science at the end of once you understand that. How it works, the chemistry part of it is different. I'll tell you the science part of it. Then you go at each level, what is happening is something that is thought, there's something that I don't look at all. If it happened, it happened, that's it at the end of the day. I think beyond that, if he has something to add, I'm not sure.
It's a very subtle question. I don't have the answer to it, and I don't think anybody has an answer to it. I would like to mention a few attempts to understand this. You are absolutely right that this topic overlaps with quantum physics. Although it is not clear exactly how it does. In quantum theory, consciousness involves some interaction between using some probe in your brain, using some tools like your eyes or whatever. And there is a certain perception that you're talking about. So in the language of physics, this amounts to carrying out an experiment to observe something. And when you carry out an observation, the system, which is basically described by a mathematical quantity, which is called as a quantum state vector or the wave function, it collapses into an eigenstate. I don't think we have the time to discuss what is meant by collapse of a wave function, but that's the terminology which is used. And from the early days of quantum theory, people have been very intrigued by this. They've raised very deep questions. Schrödinger himself has addressed it. More importantly, Wigner did some marvelous work on this, which is one of the most fundamental works on this. And after Wigner, Penrose has some theories which are attempting to understand what consciousness really is. And his theory sort of departs from the conventional interpretation of quantum physics. So people are just learning to figure out what this is. I have a student who is doing an internship with me, specifically on this Penrose model. We have just begun our studies. Maybe a year later, I might be able to give you a better answer. But I thought that I will only mention some of the major landmarks or milestones that physicists have made in attempting consciousness and interpret it as a quantum phenomenon. I don't think anybody has arrived at any conclusion as yet. But I will look forward to interacting with you further because this is a very subtle question.
Absolutely. Just want to add here, see, I think one of the biggest myths, the things we need to debunk here of the Western system is this evidence-based science. I think that is hocus pocus and nonsense, because until there's evidence, there's no science. Until there's science, there's no evidence. You have to start somewhere first. Because if you get, the moment I say something, where is evidence? I said, if I'm doing it for the first time, how will you get evidence? Yes. I'm doing something to create evidence. When the first time stent was put, there was no evidence that the stent was put before. Somebody had to go, it has to be a leap of faith to say I have to do something beyond that to make it happen. So I was having a discussion with one of my cousins who is a mathematician, statistician, who only believes numbers and nothing else. So he said, Sharan, I was also in the same space until when one of the conferences like this where a senior person was talking and somebody asked this question. And he gave this example. I know whether it's going to stick, but I'll say. He spoke about gravity. All of you know about gravity. Gravity determines every moment of what we live and what we do, the rocket, the planning and everything else. The truth is we don't know where it comes from, how do you measure it, how much is going to happen. Yet it's, it's reflecting every moment of what we do. Just because we can't define it today doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means with today's science, we are not being able to capture everything. 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, maybe. You know, like we used to write aerograms and wait for 15 days for it to reach America. Now in 2 seconds it's reaching there. That's what technology is all about. So I think that is where this space is right now. Because if you try to box it too quickly into a number, I think we are doing disservice to this science. We need to allow it to be in the cloud form. We need to allow it to form. We need to allow each of us space to navigate it differently. And I think maybe we'll get a better answer sooner than later.
Thank you. Sir, the next question is to you. And we have heard you. What we understand is that the generative AI is going to be the next big thing. Now, we have people who have been technologists and other things who have come from other, primarily English language. And if we have to communicate with our own people today in our own native language, it is becoming very, very difficult. To unlearn and relearn the same technology and same subjects in the native language, and to create an ecosystem where we are able to switch between these linguistic barriers, how much time do you think it will take before such a technology arrives?
This is one of the great challenge. I'll tell you like how it works in business sense. English is the major language in the world, so there are only now two options: either build all the technology in English and push the language, so that virtually we all fall in line and learn English and then use the technology. That's the best way for an American company because they speak their language and they're pushing the language across the world, and their market is only increasing. Today I see like in China also people are spending a lot of money on learning English. In fact, English teachers are the most highly paid ones there. Same with Korea. Japanese are also learning English. So virtually whole world is trying to learn English. That's one way. So going forward, maybe 50 years, 100 years, everyone would be only doing everything in English, and all the other languages might become, okay, either you have to communicate or when it comes to knowledge acquisition, science or medicine, it's going to be English. The other way is, because of the technology, it's a possibility with generative AI that we don't need to learn any language. Like as I am talking now, so if few of you can't understand English, maybe you can directly listen to me in your own language, Kannada, Telugu or something. It's already there, the technology is there. It's not like it's not there, but it's not been mass produced, which is like everyone virtually uses it. Kind of reach is not come there. So generative AI has that capability. We already have a lot of demonstrations on that. In fact, my own voice models can do that simultaneously. As I'm speaking in English, it can translate it into other languages. Here you can use simultaneously. So that's already a possibility. With more and more sophistication of the technology and also reduction in the cost, because always technology as it goes matures, cost becomes less. It's going to be a big possibility, but technology will not become accessible till somebody really puts a lot of money there, makes a business sense out of it. If there is no business, even the most simple technology will not be scaled. That's how the reality is. So, which country has an incentive to do that? Only India. We are the only country in the world who has so many languages. If I go to China, they have solved their Chinese English problem, done. If you go to Arab, they have only one problem, Arab and English, done. Any country, one problem, one language with English. In India, 28 minimum and then plus English. So India has to solve this, or else nobody else is going to solve this. Because we are the only country who has so, and Europe has the opportunity to do that, but they won't do it because Europe has stopped totally innovating. They are only regulating these days. All they come up with is this license, that regulation and all. If you see Europe, it's not done very well in last 20, 30 years. They're only going down with mass migration that has happened. I have zero hopes for Europe to do anything big here, except for just keep playing that game for a few decades and then quit. India is an opportunity, so India can do it, and this technology is currently there. So it is there, but we have to mass produce it. And I think government is also doing a lot of work on this. There is something called So it will only become better and better going this forward. So whiteboards are going to be a big reality.
Thank you very much for that. Just before closing, I would like to mention a few things. India, we are importing around 70,000 crores to 1 lakh crores of medtech equipment, and we require more innovation to happen in this area. And it goes up to 3 lakh crores when we see the ancillary equipment with the medtech, including the software and other things. Most of these things being produced by Indians, but yeah, by other entities. It's open market, global market. I wouldn't like to comment on that because I earn my money that way. So I wouldn't like to comment on that. But I would be happier if the establishments are from India and we are able to bring that money to India. That's one thing. Second thing, I see many seniors and middle and also youngsters here. My request to you is everyone will be having an idea because everyone is growing older in their own way. So they have their problems and at least they think that they have an idea how to solve this problem. Please reach out to us and we'll evaluate. Don't think that yeah, it is an idea or speak to the you people. It can be done like this. Nobody is doing it. Please be that person. We have a lot of interns in Bangalore city. If the right idea is coming to us and the right scientific approach is made to that, we have a right social need to bring that idea into reality, both financially, socially, and futuristically. You have seen, good Dr. Sharan has already shown us that today we are saying robust, we are 15 to 59. In 15 years, before you think the time is done, because already Modi has come, it is third term. See how time flies. We'll fall into that area. So, for today's present elderly, tomorrow's elderly, and your future self, please invest some time into elderly care and technology in elderly care. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience. I think now we have come to the final closure. I think this 20-minute, we have not done enough justice with such great personalities. Sir, sorry, I think, we wanted to learn more from you, but we will organize more, I would say, better organized sessions in the future so that we can get to listen to these people much more. So there is a small felicitation for Srinivas ji and Deshmukh ji. Can you bring this thing? And also Dr. Sharan's book as a gift to all of you.
Yes. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yes. And Sudha ma'am, you please come. Also, I think we have two misses here, so please come.
Thank you.
Bring, yeah. Individually you're giving also. Bring those. Thank you.
Yes, that's the only way to go. Absolutely.
No, I think. Come on. You want one more bouquet? Sir. Ma'am? Yeah, here. Ma'am, you give it to me. One more.
I've already bought one.
What I will do is donate
Donate this one. Thank you. Yeah, because we already bought one for ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, last, when did we?
No,
Oh,
we
I gave it to you, I think.
No, we just bought a book.
Oh, you bought a
We
book.
bought this
Yeah.
already, so we'll donate it to somebody.
Yeah, we'll give it. I will like to give it to the IIT. Yeah. You never know who happy to accept.
One for Dr. Vishnu.
This one.
Very interesting, so we bought.
Book for
I
Dr.
think some
Vishnu.
more people can give it to a library. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, I will donate
Oh, you
one copy
recommend
to
it.
the IIT. I know there was an IIT company. I just saw your card in there. So I am happy to
Nicer as
accept
well.
it.
come.
Careful, sir. On behalf. Yes.
Dr. Sharan, you could go.
Sir, I didn't see.
Two doctors.
We will exchange numbers.
No, we are putting in that Viksit Bharat group, no? WhatsApp group.
Oh, perfect.
One more.
That will catch up. Done? Can we exit?
Thank you very much. My apologies for this delay. I think there is, enjoy the lunch. I know hopefully it is not cold. So thank you very much for coming and thank you. Really appreciate your time. As everybody said, time is most precious today and you have devoted that time.